Grace and peace. Do me a favor. Just type one in the comment section. I know y'all can't see me yet. I can't see this screen. I don't know where. I don't know if I left them glasses out there. All right, what am I doing wrong here? Grace and peace. Y'all all right? Y'all can hear me, right? I'm not sure if I'm gonna come back on at 9 o'clock, but I wanted to discuss some of this stuff. Dunamis. A lot's going on. A lot's been going on. People got the nerve to say, someone asked on, all right, yeah, Minister Dante. I thought I just sent the thing out. I'm gonna have a couple of people on here. Some gonna be regulars, some not gonna be. Stephen, what's good? Hit me if you want to jump on. I know you was riding with us in the class. We ain't been having classes. I mean, hit me if you want to jump on. Rome, hit me if you want to jump on BereanTeach@gmail.com. I'm talking about some liars and deceivers, deception. Deception is the worst type of thing you can have. A lot of folk running around here talking about the commandments. They want to know what them folk done bought me to eat for my birthday. What they partying, what we in City Island rocking on my birthday. We talking about lies and deception tonight. And I'm gonna try to take my time. When I'm talking, Rome, I don't want people to think that I'm talking about the entire messianic community. I'm gonna be dealing with Hebrew Israelism, this whole messianic movement. It's not just in the church. Y'all heard the apostle, and he was on talking about his mother and them in the ultra-Orthodox Spanish church. In the Spanish church, they arguing over the tree and this and that. But there's some people that's been in the community, and the reason that they're important to me is because they came to the frequency conference out there, Pastor Kelly and Pastor Majors. Y'all gonna hear that name a lot today. They've been on the panel multiple times. But it looks like these folk are liars and deceivers, devils. I'm a straight, and I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about the whole community. They had time to come out here and explain this thing. Pastor Major's been in the background, but it looked like Kelly want to finesse it. Kelly is the #1 manipulator. This Berean talking right now. I got a series of, Kelly already said when everything jumped off, because y'all know I've been pushing the pews. Minister Yacoba, he was like, I'm not going to deal with Berean no more. Kelly said he ain't going to deal with Berean no more. He was trying to put money in the super chat. The super chat ain't how the conversation's going here. I click on plenty names. But he trying to manipulate everything. He said, I will no longer deal with Berean. This seems to be a trend. From the time I met Pastor Kelly, he's straight been manipulating. Go get lawyers. Go get them white folk. Go get whoever you want to get. You've been straight trying to manipulate. So he say stuff. We beef a little bit going back and forth. I'll stop talking to him. Steve, that's your people. I ain't dealing with him. And we end up making up. We want to talk again. But he want to come on the scene to manipulate. Pastor Major said some things. I hit him on the jack. I'm like, some days went by. He ain't producing this dude. It's looking like a hustle. A hustle is different from the finesse. I'm going to take my time tonight. I ain't got no Red Bull. I ain't got my glass, but I'm going to take my time and explain some stuff. So I hit Major. I said, Pastor, you got to produce this white dude. You got to produce this scholar. Nah, man, he too valuable to me. This is what he said. He too valuable. Can't give him up. I'm like, all right. I already know what that's about. Dumb, deaf, and blind, it just follows these preachers. I done been up in the office. I done been a pastor for 3.5 years. I know how this thing go. I know as pastors out here, they doing the most. They doing everything. There's nothing that I did not hear from a pastor, from hitting, from raping, from robbing, from setting up, from rolling up blunts whilst they writing their sermons, setting up murders. I done everything. Cats, you can't fool me. You dudes is different. Y'all dudes is funny. So I'm like, give these dudes a chance. Y'all heard the whole thing. Give these dudes a chance. So he don't want to give him up. So I know what it is. People got me under pressure. You know what it is. You know he done in the history. I even got a shout out to Garfield in the history of debating and everything. Who's pseudo gonna make stuff up? Say what you want. Them apologists, I done test them dudes with their knowledge. They ain't making something up. They'll quick to say, I'll go look into that. Why did you say I'm upset? No. All right. As a matter of fact, you could jump on. I think I sent you the link. Hold on. So the whole thing, no, because you said, no, Minister Yacoba, because you said, I think you were one of them also, you said, I'm not looking to support Berean because he want to carry on these pews. We got to talk about this. If we understand scholarship is always an ongoing thing. People are finding discoveries in archaeology and everything. Science is always open to change, open to new information. That's how come science want to argue religion, because a lot of times in religion we're dogmatic. This is the doctrine. This is what it is. But science is open the door where they can believe milk is good for you today, then say milk ain't no good for you 50 years from now. They'll give you different things. This is where the problem comes in. So people got a problem with us for that. But I want to get back to these dudes so I can give y'all a story. So after they said they're not dealing with me, and Minister and Pastor Kelly said he no longer going to support Berean and blase, he still was hitting me on the side, and he's saying, yo, because I work for the government, he's some high ranking, whatever he is in the government, automatically his videos just getting flagged and people going to be on a government watch list. Now we're going to talk. I think Mr. Dante just hit me. He might jump on here because we can't have two sides to this. Y'all can't want to lock down apologists and I'm reaching out to Boo and I'm like, yo, and Faith. And one thing I can say, I said, yo, I don't talk to Faithful like that since that thing jumped off with Pastor Kelly and Faithful kept cutting them off. I did Faithful. I ain't dead Pastor Kelly. I did it Faithful. And he did apologize and I still did him. I got a dead in spirit. So I still turned around and I did him to let Pastor Kelly and them ride. So people, staff the Berean, I hit you on the Gmail too. I hit you with the link too in case you want to jump on because you got an idea what's going on here. So he now trying to manipulate the situation. I don't know. I'm not saying he know about the thing from the beginning, but later on it seems like Kelly was the one doing all the quarterbacking when Pastor Majors was quiet. My thing is, if anybody that been on the panel, Sister EU, my peeps, if you know these cats is lying, if you know these cats is lying and you part of a cover-up, I got beef. That's beef. That's not how we do it. Not kingdom people. Kingdom people don't behave like this. Not for the gospel. Y'all don't need nobody to lie for his word, but y'all lying for culture. Somebody's lying for culture, and we're going to explain how deception comes in. If you got a scholar and you name the scholar, you can say what you want. Minister Dante was giving out Christmas gifts. Abu went to the North Pole with it. I'm not satisfied at the way y'all received what Abu said. And I'm going to go, matter of fact, let me go pull up some of this stuff right here. I'm going to show, because there have been people, I'm trying to bang so urban apologists can get in there and get to talking. Yo, come, these dudes is over here. You heard what this dude said? Let me see. I'm going to pull up this dude right here, and I'm finna click on his stuff. He better not bother me. Let me look on my thing and make sure y'all can see this. I got to click the screen over here. Let me make sure this thing is right. If it changed up, I should be able to see it right now. Oh, we're going to talk for a minute. We're going to talk. Did I hit share? I think I hit share. If I hit share, it should be on here. All right, type of one if y'all see that. I'm gonna see. All right, y'all see that right now. This is Faithful. Faithful Abu been posting. I think Vocab were live earlier today. They've been posting stuff and sharing some stuff. They've been constantly riding the pews because they interested in the language and they interested in some other stuff. Y'all, matter of fact, let me put this phone up here so I can see the comments as I'm going on right here. Let me just scroll down. Everybody know this ain't just everybody that's somebody. And one thing I gotta shout out to everybody that's Israel that hit me in the mail, that hit my phone. But now y'all ain't gonna come on here and say, listen, it's on these dudes. That dude should have said, but whatever. It looks like y'all just riding with him. It looks like y'all just riding with them. Now, if you riding with these dudes and these dudes are deceptive, I got a problem with that. I know I can't even bring Sister E on here because she down there in Virginia. That's her peeps. Kelly and them is her peeps. That's like her moray right there. But if the moray is lying, the moray's a devil. And we're going to show and prove. If y'all can't produce the white dude that y'all mentioned, it's a problem right there. It's a problem. Any way you slice the cake, it's a problem. He been trying to manipulate. He been coming in the comment section on the low, and he talking about nice, nasty on the low, trying to blow shots on the low. I said, yo, minister, the conversations come around. So when the bishops and them hit me, I'm saying automatically in forefront of my mind, minister, tell you that Pastor Johnson, shout out to Mike Holloway. Salute Mike Holloway. He understand it. And he go do, listen, we do a video, he jump on to carry on the dialogue, to carry on. He gonna go home and he gonna automatically make a video the next day, even if we've been on 2-3 hours. That's what y'all supposed to do. I told y'all a long time ago, my thing is, I believe that Christian orthodoxy should be out here just as much as them camps with videos. The level is not even with the amount of camp videos that's out here. Just type in Israel. So I try to stir the apologists. I try to amp them. They putting in work. What y'all gonna do? Mike Holloway putting in work. Say what y'all want. Alton Johnson putting in work. I know y'all don't like Alton. When I first had Alton on, even the team, they was like, yo, I can't deal. I'm like, all right, but they're going to get that medicine because we need that other side. People need to hear this. Let me tell y'all another thing. I never claimed Israel. Nobody never tried. Nobody can't get the king of finesse. The only thing that got me, I cannot lie. I want y'all to see some of this Abu stuff. The only thing that, this faithful, the same, it's going to be a lot of the same videos. The only thing that got me, and they are the number one people outside of putting in this type of work. Faithful and Abu putting in this type of work. Kelly ain't ready for this type of work right here. And Kelly can get the, Sister E, I think I sent you the link. Alton, I sent a couple of people the link. Pastor Kelly can jump on here. He not ready for this work. Y'all got to explain this. Y'all got to explain where Richard at. Pastor Brown, where you at? Explain where Richard is at. Oh, we going to spend the rest of the year on you cats. Do every one of y'all sources. Of course, y'all out here lying and deceiving the people for what? To become Israel? It's so much other evidence. Now, my thing is, I'm figuring we're going to get to the meat of the evidence. Now the elders and the bishops and them is listening. We got this. Abu done came in here and he done flipped the whole thing around. Abu messed up the, where Abu at? He better answer this phone. He messed the finesse up. We're trying to go one way, but it was ultimately coming to this because we got to see what everybody doctrine is. What you said, Pastor Johnson? Repeat that again. We got to make sure we got everybody on video. We got everybody recorded what they saying, what they believe. Automatically, after ran and jumped when he heard that 400 and Jerusalem ain't the real Jerusalem. Like, oh, we got to talk about that. Automatically, he ran, but I thought more people would hear that and be like, a lot of people. Matter of fact, I was talking to the other pastor. I told y'all I was talking about the second Exodus. The pastor said, get up out my office. Church ain't trying to hear this. And then I'm talking to the other pastors and the ministers. Them was like, yo, you basically, and the church is so sleep. Yo, you a bottom feeder. I'm out here with y'all are lower. Y'all ain't nothing to the church people. Y'all are bottom of the bottom. But I'm trying to tell the church people, this is what it is. That other minister said, yo, I ain't paid to go get no degree and spend all this money in seminary to be out here arguing with people that think they know more than me. Basically, he's saying he's the professional. That's how come I said when you start getting people like Mike Holloway, people that done been to school, when you start getting people like Mike Heiser that'll get online and put that information, because them dudes with degrees, they trying to get churches, pay their mortgage and being a professor. They not trying to trying to be out here arguing with you folk that think y'all know something. So sometimes when pastors do what pastors do, them pastors are trying to promote this Israel thing. That's why they said they're going to do the groundwork, and they drove all the way from down south to come to Philly to the conference because they want to do groundwork. I said, yo, go ahead and talk to them and da. But I got to say, Pastor Mace was right. You don't know what these dudes' doctrine is. I wasn't there that year, but he was like, man, I'm not dealing with them. I just felt some type of way about 8 months later, and Mace was like, not Mace, Pastor Brown was like, yo, yeah, and we're going to sit down and Mason, we're going to chop it up with Mason. I'm like, man, listen, don't wait for that day, because I already spoke to the bishop. They ain't feeling none of that. They ain't feeling none of it. But you know me, the king of finesse, I'm like, yo, we're going to have dialogue is going to take place. We're going to see what these people believe. We're going to let them get out here and talk, and right now the talk has been amped up. Let me stop sharing the screen so I can see what's what. I'm going to click on some of these videos. Did it stop sharing screen? Let me see if it says stop share. Hold on, let me see. I can't see over there. All right, it looks like it says stop share. So when it comes down to it, all right, you hold on, mute yourself, fam. So when it comes down to it, we got to understand that this thing's been going on for a minute. We want to talk, Yolanda. If you want to jump on here, let me know. We want to talk, but these deceivers ain't going to play with me. You ain't going to confess we got a problem. That's all it is. I'm not mad. And once again, I'm not putting it on everybody. I'm not going to put it on everybody. It ain't all. I'm not saying everybody not saved, all of it. But I'm saying when we start dealing with deception, when we start dealing with manipulation of the information, I have not found this among no Israelites. Garfield been in the conscious community, and Garfield don't need you cats to do his numbers. He done hosting 500 Sinetta joints. Sinetta a heavy rotation, y'all. Don't act stupid out here. Come on, staff. Come on to the microphone for a minute. Let me see. Let me read some of these comments. Oh, no. I took you off. Go ahead, bro. Say something right now. Let me see. I'm mute you. Go ahead, bro.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Yeah, man. I was surprised you gave me the link. Really, I just been you know, in the comments pretty much for the last couple of months, building with people. But just from the outside looking in, you know, it just seemed like on both sides, it's a lot of unfocused. Like nobody's focusing on the right things anymore. I thought we were supposed to be looking at doctrine. You know what I'm saying? It seems like we've gotten to a whole bunch of unbiblical mess. And
what's my man name? My man said earlier, he was like, yo, you see what happened when we leave the book? One thing I can say, Mike Holloway was like, listen, if y'all, whatever y'all want to do, whatever y'all want to be, DNA, that's one thing, but let's get on the doctrine. So I said we get into the doctrine part, plus all of the majority of people that's ministers and stuff, because I've been pushing, these brothers are saved, these brothers are saved. They want to hear the doctrine part.
Right.
They want to hear I'm offended that the church haven't been dealing with these European evangelicals and everything, but they're offended with the doctrine part. So I said, let's get to the doctrine. Let's get with certain things. But Pastor Kelly and them trying to manipulate it, they keep talking about the pews, and then he dropping videos talking about checkmate. Like, all right, end of discussion. Ain't nothing to end of nothing, dude.
Right.
You don't run this. Ain't nothing to end of nothing. And then when Faithful and them come back, when Abu come back and blow with shots, they want to get offended and then vocab. People gonna play it and people gonna spread it. This is how scholarship go, preacher. That's how come some people, they gonna just preach the doctrine. And if you preach the doctrine, it's okay. But don't try to step in this arena right here trying to act like you a scholar. I said, listen, because I know I'm not sharp. Other people ain't sharp in it. I'll put 300 up. I like what my other man said. He said, yo, to be honest, this argument with the pew's been around. Before we were on, this argument with the pew's been around for years. But when these dudes start getting out here and they promoting it like, yo, this is it. Then I'm going to tell y'all another thing about Pastor Kelly. Everybody listen, when us preachers don't want to ask something, we get to spiritualize in the text. We get to mystify in the text. The preacher running around and I'm listening to him talking to Garfield and when he was talking about the other thing. He said, yo, and even when you look at the pictures and in the way that the pictures are, what that mean? That's how they be doing with you in the large and the worshipful master. He's in the east and the moving of the sun. That's that Christmas nonsense. That's that mystical nonsense. Oh, the way the whole church is set up. The way the whole church is set up, what? Explain it. Deceiver, explain it. Come on, bro. You got the mic.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, it seemed like a lot, like I said in the comments earlier, you know, skeletons are coming out the closet. And if there's ever a space that people can get to come to the table and be accountable for the things they've done, you know, repent. I can't say that anybody's lying. I'm brand new to this game myself, but if they are, come on and say, hey, maybe, you know, we got a little overzealous. We wanted to prove our point, but you know, we might be wrong. Or
that's all I was looking for.
But on the other side, if you might be wrong, Brother Berean, or something.
Amen.
Like
that's all. And I listened to this whole live. I'm listening to the whole live. Yo, Pastor, forgive me. I was speeding and this and that. People talking about Berean need to come and confess. He did a whole 2.5 hour IP class and he ain't addressed nothing. I ain't go. Listen, y'all. That whole thing is suspect.
Yeah.
These clowns can't play with me. Play with these other fools that want to be Israel. And that's not everybody. But there's mad people. Israel is telling me, yo, I can't lie. It's looking sus. I'm feeling some type of way about, but they not saying nothing on the locals. These are leaders. I can say something. I'm a boss. I'm a leader too. I just don't follow like that. I don't accept what these pastors just tell me. That's your job to do that.
I think too many people had thought you was going the Israel route, and they
did. They did. That's how I heard Sister Cherry and other people hating on me. I'm like, they don't know any better. And I ain't explaining the finesse. I want people to grab Mike Holloway already on top of that thing. He ain't playing with that thing. He see a video, he gonna get out here and he know the urgency of it. These doctrines are being taught. He's warning the church. He's like a watchman on the wall, and he's only dealing with doctrine. He's staying in his lane. He's not trying to get into DNA. Alton, the thing that hurt me is Alton claimed Sister Cherry, Alton, none of them seminary trained. But they see something, they be like, oh no, this got to get answered. But them other people talk about we bottom feeders down here getting online, talking about this, and they done paid for seminary. They ain't coming to argue nothing. But this is the new play. These are the platforms. Listen, God put us out the church for a reason. Them buildings is closed up for a reason. This is what it is. Y'all got to get with it. Come on out there. I think he in here. Go ahead, brother.
Dante here?
No, I think Alton. Yeah, you keep going. You keep going. Alton.
Oh, yeah. But even on
hey,
I'm glad I got to say this.
Go ahead. Hold on. Go ahead.
Oh no, just in front of everybody. You know, like I've got caught up in emotionalism on both sides within the last like 3 or 4 months. Because sometimes I'll be like, nah, man, y'all need, we ride with the Hebrew Israelites. That's us. But there are other times it be, I feel like some of us, especially in the comments, we too new to be even, picking the side. Y'all are.
That's how come I said the majority of people don't know nothing. Let's present the information. Let them hear nice, respectful dialogue.
Right.
And as they hear Pastor Johnson, as they hear Mike Holloway, they go through scripture. The God will lead them. We ain't got to manipulate nothing. Just have these discussions. And that's what is he moving furniture?
Go ahead. I don't know, but that's why I apologize.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, that's why I ended up apologizing. I even apologized to Fortune and Teo and those guys. Like, look, I'm gonna let the Lord lead my movements, and I'm gonna apologize to everybody that I badmouthed on here.
Amen.
And I'm gonna let the word speak in its truth, no matter if it's Black Hebrew Israelite, moderate, Brother Berean.
Amen.
The scriptures from here on out is what I got to move with, because I'm
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and if we can all do that, that'll be a beautiful place. A shout out to them. It's no beef. It's no beef.
We got to, if we got to take it there and spiritual beef, like we got to pull it out. Like we got to, you know what I mean? We got to. Things need to be vetted. You can't just make a claim and then be like, well, nah, because we made the claim, you need to believe it blindly. No, we're not doing that. You need to back that up. And if you can't back it up, then
And my thing is, it's not even looking bad if y'all lied, if y'all can't put right now, if you don't produce Richard Katz, if you don't produce them, y'all are liars. And y'all don't want to produce them, it's okay. But if y'all out here be getting tagged and videos to talk about your church name and all that, and using it, listen, whatever it is, it's gonna be because y'all started that. Y'all brought that out here. Y'all are nothing but liars to me, and I'm gonna check everything out. So now they talking about Shalom. Of course, I'm gonna bring our boo on if they ain't scared him off. I'm gonna bring him on. Yo, is this language legit? Is this language make believe? We're gonna deal with all of this. Y'all can't come giving the people nothing, not on this platform. If I hear it, I'm gonna go after it. That's what I'm gonna do. Come on, Alton. Oh, he's still murmuring.
Hey, what's going on, Brother Berean?
Nothing, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, yeah, sorry about that, man. I'm actually I'm not on my computer right now. I'm on the phone, trying to get this dinner prepared. So, so that's why you probably hear a lot of that stuff in the background. But one thing I want to say to everybody, both sides, Israel and the church, when Berean started doing this about 3-4 years ago, what was the first thing that Berean said? He said, "We're not gonna play with this book." All right, that's the reason why he started this. He said, we ain't gonna play with this book, because what has happened, especially in the church, we got a lot of people out here bringing all types of foolishness, mess up in the church. Over there in Africa, it's way worse. You know what I'm saying? You got pastors talking about, they're gonna sleep with somebody's wife.
They talking about eat grass.
Right, eating grass. Pastors talking about, yo, I need to sleep with your wife. That'll open up a womb so y'all can have kids. All of that stuff.
Yep.
Crazy. I done made videos about that. I done made videos about the Black church. All of that stuff. So, when we do this stuff, and I've said this before on my videos, we're not coming out here to play around to try to get views, to try to get subscribers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we doing this because we want to know the truth. You know what I'm saying? That is key, because if you don't get this right, your eternity is in danger. You know what I'm saying? Oh, go ahead.
Well, let me ask you something, Brother Alton.
Yes, sir.
Is eternity is people believing that they Hebrew Israelites a damnable offense? Because I did keep it 100 with you too. Only thing I do see on your channel is all Hebrew Israelite focus. If I wanted to go there and learn about Christ, I wouldn't see it. Only that these certain groups of people, you know what I'm saying? So is that a really a damnable offense?
No, it's not. But here's the thing. Go ahead.
No,
I was going to say that
you're saying it's like will you go to hell if you believe you're Israel, as long as you believe on the Lord?
Right. Yeah.
Let out them.
No. And listen, and I said this. Was it a couple of times? Last couple of times I was on this panel, that I'm not condemning nobody to hell just because they say that they're a Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I have a conversation with you about doctrine, then that's when we can start figuring out, okay, so are you sound? Are you solid? And not only basically just based on what you say, but also on how you act and how you respond. You see what I'm saying? So if you're saying that you say sanctify, filled with the Holy Spirit, and you're a Christian and all of this stuff here, but you're doing other stuff that is contrary to what the word says, then now we got a problem. You know what I mean? Now, as for my channel, I address everything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think I got over 400 some videos. Now, the reason why you see a lot of Hebrew Israelite stuff is because that's what I'm dealing with now. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff that is affecting people now, because majority of the folks that I talk to are, you know what I'm saying, consider themselves to be Israel, or they're saying that their family member has fell off into this. I done had like 4 ladies email me personally saying, Brother Alton, please help me out, because, you know, my husband done abandoned us and he done went off and started, you know, hanging out with these camps and telling me that me and the children are worshiping devils and stuff and all types of crazy stuff. So therefore, when I do make my videos, I do gear a lot of my current stuff towards that. Not only that, I think maybe about a week ago, I did a video on Calvinism. You know what I'm saying? So
that's right. Yeah, that's true.
Right. So it's not just Hebrew Islam. There was a point to there was a time to where I was just addressing a conscious community. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even addressing Israel or anybody. I was doing a lot of videos about the conscious community. You know what I mean? So, and I just think that this is the season where I feel like that the Lord is leading me to address some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I'm even running into people who's come out of the camps and all of that. You know, I even posted up some videos that I did like a couple of years ago.
Hold on a minute, Alton. BereanTeacher@gmail.com, Rome. BereanTeacher@gmail.com. Go ahead. I'm trying to read these comments. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So what happened is even the videos that I want that I'm doing now are some old videos that I've posted where I had the lady who it was a live stream that I did maybe a couple of years ago, and there was a lady, she had come out of the camp, and there was another guy who had came out of the camp. He's in Australia, Brother George, shout out to him. He came out of the camp, and I'm trying to give a different perspective, you know, of some of the people that we do run into. And I've even had Hebrew Israelites, I've even did dialogues with Hebrew Israelites on my channel. You know what I'm saying? And I've always opened my platform up for people to come by and dialogue, because I've had people hit me up and say, man, I totally disagree with what you say. I'm like, you want to come on live and talk about it? And they like, yeah, we set something up, we go in and we have a discussion. So so yeah, I mean, I do apologize if anybody feels that they think that I'm trying to say that just because somebody calls themselves a Hebrew Israelite, that you know, they're somebody who is not going to heaven, or that's just a damnable offense. You know, I do apologize for that. That is not what I'm trying to say.
You can see the screen.
That when it,
Can you see the screen on your phone?
Yeah, I can see it. He says he's asking us, is it sin to call yourself Israel? No. Once again, no, it's not sin to call yourself Israel. But here's the issue. This is what y'all have to understand. You can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. And again, once again, like I always say when I get on here, it doesn't matter what you call yourself. Nobody cares if you call yourself Israel or not. But when you turn around and you're using scripture and you're using doctrine to back that up, then that's when we're going to have the problem. Because Dante Fortson, 2 occasions, this is the most recent occasion, he did a screenshot. I mean, not a screenshot, but he put a post of me on his Facebook page with this word ungodly Nigerian blood or something.
Oh yeah, he said tag you. I ain't your friend on Facebook. Yeah, he did say something. I tagged you. Yeah.
Right. He goes, yeah, well, you know, Alton says that Nigerian DNA blood is quote unquote ungodly. And I'm like, what does that have to do with doctrine? You know what I'm saying? Not only that.
You fell off.
You there?
Alton believes that
we just lost 30 seconds, 20 seconds. You just came. I don't know. You hit the mute button. What you got going on?
No, sorry about that. I may have lost signal momentarily. Okay. But no, on Dante Force's change.org petition, he put up a video of mine and he wrote a caption to it saying
I did already, Dante. Look at don't look in Messenger, look at your Gmail. I'm sorry. He listened, he told me, John, I thought I said the link 10, 15 minutes ago. Go ahead.
Right. But now, on the petition, change.org, he says that Alton Johnson believes that a person, that we cannot be saved solely based on our racial identity. Amen. I agree. So why is that a problem? You see what I'm saying? So if I believe that a person cannot be saved solely based on their racial identity, then why are you putting that up on your petition to try to make it seem like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a problem. Dude, that's doctrine. But you got that on your petition like it's a problem because I've said that. So therefore, now we have to go back to the doctrine. We have to go back to the scriptures and see what the scriptures and the doctrine says, because you saying that you saved, you saying that you're a Christian, but how do you try to justify what you've actually put on a petition that you disagree with me when I say that a person is not solely saved on their ethnicity? So you have to make stuff like that make sense. So this is what I have a problem.
But let me ask you a question. I'm asking both of y'all a question. I'm asking, this is important for the chat room, or this is important for everybody. Is it important? Because I don't know, the church, and then I'll be like, yo, like I said, you get on here, you see a need, you record, so Terry CC needs your record. But all them seminary trained dude friends that I got, they just, some stuff they don't want to explain. They don't want to get on here and deal with us low people and explain some stuff. Do you have to know? Listen to me good, everybody. Listen to me good. Do you have to understand the Bible in these times we're living in? Do you have to know who Israel is, Alton?
No.
That's an honest question.
You have to know who Christ is.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Elaborate. I wish Mike Holloway was here. Yeah. Oh no, you should have made it plain. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
That's all you gotta say?
You do not have to. Yeah, you don't have to know who Israel is. You only have to know who Christ is. All of that other stuff is secondary. You know what I'm saying? If you go ahead, believe that you're Israel, but that Bible is about Christ. So you can say whatever you want. Hold on a second. Hello?
Oh, that's that Android. I know what it is. I know what phone that is. He got that same phone
what it is
Professor Katz got. He got Professor Katz's phone.
But listen, because I'm on my phone and people calling me and stuff like that, so my phone is going out. But yeah, no, you don't have to be. We don't have to know who the people are in order to understand the book. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically my answer right there.
Staff, you want to say something on that?
It's Shafe, man. I don't know why you keep calling me Staff, man. But
Shafe. Oh, I'm sorry. You see, and I got my glasses on too.
But I think
big H right there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think I'll put it to you like this. I got saved 3 years ago, and at that point in time, I only knew Christ, and that's all I cared about. Now I do think it's important to know who Israel is, not what skin color they are or who they are today, but who they were then. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned from Israel, and it's definitely important to know who they are. But 100%, all I cared about then was knowing Christ, because he was the only one that was going to pull me up out of
that man. Oh, man. Garfield, hit me if you want to jump on. I think I already sent you that link. Hold on, Alton, don't jump on. There's Dante. You've been listening. You heard some stuff that you ain't agree with from Brother Alton.
Can you hear me?
I can now.
All right, so let me put the record straight for what Alton took out of context, because Alton didn't bother to ask anything. He just made assumptions. So I'll give you a perfect example. Can you hear me?
Keep going.
All right, yeah, I'm driving. So here's a perfect example. Salam, for instance, she got on Cherry Love's channel talking about DNA. We done heard G-Con talking about DNA, Kevin G, all these guys talking about DNA. So then we start looking at the DNA, and the DNA does not turn out the way they want it. So what do? Salam is a perfect example. She jumps on your channel, specifically leaving comments saying it's ungodly. Then Cherry and them
getting slides. Yeah, we're Salam, but
right.
We got a warrant out for. We looking for. She said she's gonna have them slides ready.
Well, they constantly talking about DNA, but yet they will at the same time say it's ungodly for us to look at DNA. So my point was, when Alton had previously got on there saying his DNA pointed to Nigeria, I was pointing out the hypocrisy, which is why I put the word ungodly in quotation marks, because they are only saying that in reference to Israel, but they're not saying anything to the Christians who are looking into DNA and getting their DNA done and doing hours worth of DNA conversation. And I do want to shout out Shape the Berean. Appreciate your apology the other day. I told you that during the live, so I do appreciate you for that.
Salute.
All right, go ahead. No. All right, I sent you the link, Mike. If you want to jump on Elder, go ahead. Anything you want to say on Alton on that? He talking about.
You said what now?
I thought they was in the car.
Were you talking to me or Alton? Were you talking to me or Alton?
No, I know, because I wanted Alton to reply if he wanted to you. And because I was hoping that we can get to the DNA, that we can get to all of that stuff. But if anybody is out here faking evidence, do you agree, Minister Dante? You agree? Now I know them. Do you agree that's a problem?
Yeah, it's a problem. I've said it multiple times. I said it on my channel. I've said it on your channel before. If Pastor Kelly or Pastor Majors is lying, they need to apologize and repent. If they prove themselves that they are not lying, then they need to be apologized to. And that has been my position publicly.
Amen. I see Shape shaking his head. Alton, you agree with that too?
Yeah, I agree with. I agree with that.
All right, Minister Dante. Maybe before we move on, you heard the question that I asked them, right? Do you think it's important? We'll join, but have Bible class in a few. All right, bless you, Elder. What do you think about that? And Mike, you got to jump on with that, Mike. Do you have to know who the people are in the last days to understand Scripture, to understand the end times, to understand anything of that nature? Come on, Dante.
Can you repeat that? My side cut out. I couldn't hear you.
Is it important for believers to understand the Bible? Is it important to know who Israel is in these last days?
I personally believe it does, because here's the thing. If we're going to say that we've been riding with those 1948 people being Israel, the money's been going over there, people are saying that they fulfilled Bible prophecy, and now because a different group of people are talking about it, suddenly the narrative is, well, it doesn't matter. Well, you have to go back and say it didn't matter then. And if it didn't matter at all ever, why is there such importance placed on those 1948 people, them being in the land, them fulfilling Bible prophecy, if it's not important? Also, how is it that we're not allowed to use Scripture to prove who we are, but everybody else is allowed to use Scripture to talk about everybody else? If you get into some of these Eurocentric Christian churches, they will start telling you that Esau and Ishmael are the Arabs and other people like that. They will use the Bible to identify people ethnically. They will tell you Hamites are black.
Wait, hold on. Let him talk, Al. Let him.
They will tell you.
You went off in the straw man arguments.
No, I'm not. I'm saying everybody is not a straw man. Everybody is using the Bible to identify people ethnically, except for when it comes to black people using it to identify as Israel. Then all of a sudden we can't use it, and we're in the wrong for using it. And that's the energy we get, but nobody else gets that energy for using it the same.
Okay, now Alton, did you hear what he said?
Yeah, but I mean,
you on the computer now?
Yeah, I'm on the computer now.
All right, Mr. Dante, don't button. Let him share his thoughts.
Yeah, I apologize for butting in, but I mean, come on, again, man. Don't nobody care about no ethnicity. Don't nobody care about no DNA, because at the end of the day, when you die,
don't nobody. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm cutting off. I said don't cut off, and I'm cutting off. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. But no, at the end of the day, when you die, you're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. That's it. Your DNA and trying to know who somebody is, if the real people over there in the Levant versus the folks that's over here, man, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. The scriptures point to Christ. Even Christ said it himself, that all of the prophets, all of the prophecies about, you know what I'm saying, that was the all of the laws and the prophecies point to me. That's basically what Christ was saying. Amen. So if we believe that, and if that's what we believe as Christians, if that's what we believe as believers, then why the heck are we worrying about some folks that's living 2,000 years after Christ? Why are we worrying about if they're Israel or not? Because you being Israel don't do anything for me. It doesn't do anything for anybody, and it doesn't even do anything for yourself when it comes to salvation. So it doesn't matter. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing Jacoba posting stuff in the chat, but
I can be you can call me silly all you want, but at the end of the day, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
But somebody just said up in here that they do care, though. Do you think the church, because they care, let me ask you another. Do you think the church has been addressing blatant racism within a lot of these events? Do you think the church have properly been addressing these things, Alton? Or I need to deal with that British Israelism. I need to pull them slides up right now and deal with these Europeans and how they folk been lying the whole time. You don't think many people in America are disgusted with Christianity because some of these white folk?
Here's the thing.
Talk about the African pastors and eating grass and all that, but I'm about the behavior of some Europeans that call themselves Christians in this country.
First of all, the circles that I run in.
Oh boy, here you go. There you go. This is Mr. Vody Beckham. Go ahead.
The Christians that I've been running in, the circles that I've been running in, we've been talking about this. So I don't know where y'all been at. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't sit back and blame y'all weak pastors and y'all weak leadership that y'all been under for years and try to put that on everybody else. Like that's everybody.
Where Mike Holloway at? Listen to this dude here. Go ahead.
So just because you was on the weak leadership, that doesn't mean everybody else was on the weak leadership. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, first of all, y'all want to talk about white evangelicals and white racism and all of that. Who was the one who helped them black slaves get out of slavery? You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. I agree with that. Some of them, this time I can't say all white folk.
Right.
Almost every house of the Underground Railroad was white folk house. Go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. Who owned them trains? Who owned them homes? You know what I'm saying? Who owned those offices where that paperwork is being signed?
We're talking about.
So don't sit back and try to tell me about, I got to know who Israel is. Israel ain't do nothing for black folks. It was God Almighty, the Most High, the God of Christianity. That's the one who was doing all of that stuff for black folks. When those masters was out there raping them slaves, and all of these children being born, and all of those slaves was in those slave ships coming over across, across those boats. Who was there? It was God. So y'all can sit back and y'all can talk about all of that. Oh, the white man gave you the Bible, but guess what? It was a lot of them white folks giving us freedom at the same time. So miss me with all of that. Oh, we need to figure out who Israel is. Y'all benefiting off of the blood, sweat, and tears that white folk and black folk done died under the name of Christianity. So you show me where somebody done died in the name of Israel trying to free slaves.
Oh man!
Can I respond to that, Brother Brian? I want to respond to that, Brother Brian.
That's a bad question.
Yeah,
right, I want to respond to that, Brother Brian.
I would be wrong to not let you respond to that because they're gonna just
see Alton is trying to paint a narrative that all Israelites hate white people, right? Yeah. And this has, because if you recall, last time I was on your show, Brother Brian, I corrected Elder Mike about slavery, and I said the abolitionists. So we acknowledge that there are white people, but here's the thing: when he says Israel doesn't matter, I can guarantee you Alton has never said that to the Ashkenazi Jews, that their heritage doesn't matter, that them being their claim to be Israel doesn't matter. And we find that it's a different energy towards us. We can see Irish Catholic on the building of some of these Irish Catholic churches. And they don't go and tell them, well, what does you being Irish matter? It doesn't matter if you were Irish because this is what happened and that what happened. But they do it to us, and there's a different standard. It's not a clear-cut standard across the board, because it's only us that they say it doesn't matter. If vocab gets on and say he's Italian or Sicilian, like he's done many times, never once have I ever heard one Christian tell him that his Irish or Sicilian ethnicity lineage does not matter. But yet, when it comes to us, they say it. And when I was in the church, never once did I hear anybody, black, white, or other, tell those Ashkenazi that it didn't matter about their heritage or culture or lineage. I only started hearing that narrative when we came over here discussing this with people who identify with urban apologetics. That's the only place I've ever heard this. And they continue to keep up that narrative, and they keep bringing up the white man this and the white man that. Not all Israelites hate white people. Not all Israelites are against using white sources. All this stuff is narratives that they're pushing because they don't care to ask or find out. And when we explain it, they don't care to listen. They just want to run with their narrative. So if Alton is saying it doesn't matter, then why did you go get your DNA tested, Alton? Why are you trying to find out where you came from, Alton? Why did you bring up Nigeria, Alton, if none of this stuff matters?
Okay, so
I'm gonna let Garfield next, but let them work on that, and I'm gonna talk to Garfield next. But go ahead, Alton.
Let me respond to that. I did a live video and I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it in the community section of my on my channel, and I'm gonna show you that when I did my DNA test live. This was about 5 years ago. All right,
did your DNA test live?
I took it live,
Wow.
and I got a video of when I took my DNA test. So I'm
Why?
gonna post it on my
Why you
community
do that?
so you can look at it and see what my response is. Now, second of all, we're gonna get into this tonight. We're gonna get into this.
Well,
What makes you Israel? I want to know what definitively makes you Israel. What evidence do you got to show that you are Israel?
Wait, hold on. Wait,
hold on. All of my sources are posted on blackhistoryinthebible.com. Hold on. I post them all. I post them all. I post the links.
Wait, hold on.
If you be quiet and listen, Alton,
Yeah.
I post the links to all my sources as I've done for years. So it's not just one piece of evidence. Y'all like, oh, what's this piece of evidence right here? There are hundreds. There are over 500 pieces of evidence posted on Black History in the Bible with the links to the sources. Nothing is hidden. I'm not doing like Mike and taking snips of a sentence out of whatever page he grabbed it from and using it as evidence. I'm not just making statements. I say, okay, here's the evidence that I found. Here is the link where I found it. Go review it for yourself. And I've always been open with that. If it's wrong, correct me. I've always had that stance. So y'all get out here finding one piece of evidence and saying, well, this one piece doesn't line up. I'm not defending any particular one piece of evidence. I'm saying look at everything as a whole. And if something needs to be looked at again, let's go back and look at it and correct it. That has always been my stance. And anybody that says anything opposite of that is misrepresenting me personally. So if you want to know what evidence I have, blackhistoryinthebible.com has over 500 pieces cataloged on it right now. You are free to look anytime you want to.
All right, hold on a minute. Hold on, I'll put you to the back. Hold on, Alton. I'm put you to the back 1 second. We got Alton. You got time? But Dante, hold on. Let me bring it back. You got time, right?
Yeah, I got time. But if y'all want to have another conversation right now,
no.
Yeah.
You want to jump off and come back on? I'll put you to the back. But I want to talk about that right there, Alton, because that question is important. And I wanted to, is it important for us to know who Israel is to understand the Bible and the last days? Does that have something to do with it? And let me see if I can pull up Abraham thing. Garfield, what's good, brother?
Hey, peace and love. Peace and love. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, man. People was running around here talking about this documentary. You know I'm talking about Pastor Kelly. I don't want to hate in front of everybody. I'm not talking about all Israel, but I got beef right now, Pastor Kelly, and that information and the way it went down with my man William Brown, Pastor Brown, and all that, and I'm feeling some type of way. They said you ain't got no Hebrew scholar, ain't no Hebrew gonna do no documentary about those pews and sell it. Garfield ain't nothing but a liar. Talk to us, man.
Hey, peace and love to everybody and to the brother on the panel. The last time I came on your show, I disregarded who was on your panel. I didn't even say good evening or anything. So peace to the brother on the panel. I don't know you, but hey, peace to you. I love your energy, by the way. All right. Now, a couple of years ago, there's a brother by the name of Alvin Elmore. He is a Black Hebrew Israelite. His father is also an Israelite. He did a documentary called The Cryptic Quest. I didn't remember the name. So last week, he actually sent it to me because I had a debate with Pastor Kelly on his timeline about these same pews. And people need to go back to watch that. And on that same video, he said he knew Hebrew too. On that same video on his timeline, but he deleted that video. I have it on my YouTube channel. The issue here with the pews is we need people who are experts in the field. Abu is not an expert, but Abu...
Not believers, experts, not believers.
Experts, right. Experts in the field. Abu is very humble. He knows the language pretty well. He knows Arabic. He knows Hebrew. He knows his stuff.
And he called himself an amateur, but he's thorough with it.
Right. So the issue here is with the pews, the documentary was made. And when the documentary was made, it was Dr. Ephraim Isaac. And anybody could look him up and see that this dude is like the top Semitic scholar in America, whether he's black or white. The dude is just a beast with ancient Near East language. And he just happens to be a black guy who is a Yemeni Jew. He accepts that as his faith. So now, I mean, as far as bloodline, I guess he thinks he's from Yemen, from the Jews that went to Yemen. But I'm saying that to say that he's not somebody that disregard the Bible like Garfield. He's not somebody that's saying, hey, it don't match up with history. He's not Garfield. This is a Dr. Ephraim Isaac, worked at Princeton University, worked at Harvard University. He's the top scholar in the game, and he is black. So now we can't go around what he's saying unless you have a scholar with his credentials to match what he's saying. And
Look, are you driving in the car?
Yes.
You can see though you driving and watch you talking.
Right. I could see. I'm not driving. I'm pulled over.
Look at what my man's saying on the screen. Why he feel you ain't qualified to come in here and talk? Because 99% of us in here are believers. What would you say to that, Garfield? He breaking up.
Your own opinion, but if it's an issue that's outside the Bible, I could talk
when
about
we deal with scholarly material, we could bring Bart Ehrman in. Not a believer, yes. When we deal with manuscripts.
Exactly. And you see, the truth of the matter is, to attest to what I've done all these years in the conscious community, I'm able to recruit folks to come on my channel like a Bart Ehrman, a Carrier, a Russell Gmerkin, a Tudor Parfit, who's gonna blow this Lemba stuff out the way. And you're looking at Jonathan Short, that wrote modern the Jews in the modern world, which a lot of our folks use as sources. So now there's an opportunity to see this type of scholarship on my channel. It's also going to be on Sonnet and Black News 102. So a lot of people are going to view these videos, and we need that type of scholarship. But the issue is, I'm not a believer in the Bible, and I accept that. Now, if the reason why I respect Bereen, because he's not saying Garfield's coming up here to act ignorant and stupid and cuss everybody out like he's in the hood. Garfield is here to have an intellectual conversation. Now, the issue with the pews, let me just finish this real quickly. The issue with the pews is that they're saying it's not Hebrew. It's not Hebrew. So I'm going by what the scholar says. It's not that I'm going by what he says. I'm not going by what no random person who took a picture and said, yeah, I put it through this machine and I did this and this email and that. No, you had somebody that went to the church, a scholar, sat down with another scholar and sat down and said, hey, this doesn't have Hebrew words in it. It don't. It's not Garfield saying it. I'm just regurgitating or repeating what the scholars say. So if you have a scholar in the field that's willing to go down there, pay them. Because remember, they said, Bereen, that Garfield was lying, right?
They sure did. They sure did. Yes, they did. Everybody, a lot of people in here said he was lying. I seen it. I was at the car dealer. I seen it. You caught me before you was getting ready to drop the video. I seen the lie.
And shout out to Alvin Elmore. Anybody wants to befriend him on Facebook, he's a Hebrew Israelite. So if you feel comfortable listening to him instead of me, his name is Alvin, like Alvin the Chipmunk, and Elmore, Elmore. And the issue now is, he did such a beautiful documentary, Bereen. The University of Cincinnati bought the documentary. So when I showed it on my channel, I had to remove it because there were some clips that was longer than 35, 45 seconds. I
remember when I got on the turnpike, I ain't see it no more.
I had to remove the video out of respect for my friend, because he technically wanted me to show it live and then take it right down. And I said, you know what? Let me show it again today. Those little clips that's important with Dr. Ephraim Isaac, the PhD from Harvard, who says that it's not Hebrew. He basically is telling us it's not Hebrew. The other scholar that was there said, hey, there's no Hebrew words there. I'm going by
and you can say what you want. Once Sister E and them started messing with Abu and them done hit that church up. That church changed their own position, messing around with Abu. Y'all can say what you want. Them dudes is moving, they a problem.
Brother Grant, can I make a comment?
I agree with the brother say that don't have anything to do with the wider spectrum, with the wider scope of all of the information. We got too much stuff to be sifting through for Kelly and them to be telling us checkmate on the pews, and it ain't no checkmate. Go ahead, Minister.
All right, so everybody knows I haven't done any videos on the pews.
You know who this is talking, right, Garfield?
Say that again.
You know who this is talking, right? Oh, you can see the screen. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So I have no comments towards Garfield specifically. And I'm not an expert in the pews. Y'all know I ain't dropped no videos on the pews.
No, you ain't been discussing. That's right.
But in this book, I will tell you guys what I did present to Pastor Kelly, because I thought this was relevant. So during a live study of mine, I was reading from the source I read from, the Cambridge source, Blacks, Jews, the religious debate or whatever it's called, Blacks, Jews. I'll put the link up there for anybody who wants it. So now within there is a section about Nigeria. and it's talking about the slave trade. And it says the following. It says, and this is page 235. If anybody wants to go on JSTOR and pull it up, again, it's called Blacks, Jews. In southern Nigeria, the natives called Black Jews the strange people on the Imo Yokaim. They are called the Benai Ephraim, the sons of Ephraim. They claim that their ancestors came from Morocco, and this is supported by Godby, who noted that their language is a mixture of Maghrebian Arab, ancient Hebrew, and local patois. Now, I pointed that out. Yeah, I pointed that out because as I was reading it, I was getting down, like the paragraph after that is about the 400 years in slavery and slaves in America. But I noticed that part right there where it said that their language is a mixture of Maghrebian Arab, ancient Hebrew, and local patois. And I'll send that over to you, Brother Berean, after you want.
That could be, I'd like to see that. That could be part of the problem right there. And
that's exactly what I said. So when I passed it on to Pastor Kelly, I mentioned that maybe the reason it looks like Arab to some people and Hebrew to other people is because this document says that they were speaking a mixture of both languages, so it's possible that they have a written hybrid language as well that looks like both, but they can't interpret it as either because it's a hybrid language. So that was my total contribution, and that was it.
And who you told this to?
I told that to Pastor Kelly, and I said it on a live. I was actually reading a live about something else, and I just shouted out to Pastor Kelly in the chat. Hold on, let me tell him first before you interrupt me, Garfield. Pastor Kelly was in the chat. And I shouted it out to Pastor Kelly, and that's as much as my contribution. But I see it from that it could be a mixture of both. And everybody could be wrong and right.
Okay.
No, I never made a video on it. I was making a live about something else, saw this, and just said, hey, Pastor Kelly, check this out.
Very good, very good.
You know what, Berean? Dante is being scholarly with that.
Amen. I agree with that. Yes, it is.
You see, he didn't make a video and say, I got the truth.
And shut it down.
He
said,
I'm going to contribute this way. I'm not no expert on this. Well, I'm gonna contribute by showing this, which I actually respect because that sounds cool. Because if you look at Ladino as a language, or the Sephardic Jews that moved back to Morocco and how they mix up Spanish with the Ladino and whatever, there's a different language that came out. How people write scripts is very important. All I'm saying is I'm a rock with the scholar who looked at it and went into church and reviewed it with other scholars. I'm a rock with him for now until somebody comes up with something that outshines that or is actually saying making more sense than what that scholar said. That's all I'm saying with the pew. Because for me to jump out the window and say, hey, it's Hebrew because I'm a Hebrew Israelite, if I was claiming that, is very disingenuous. It's not being scholarly. You have to look at the pews. You look at the writings. People are saying, Garfield, you need to go there and take pictures. I said to Pastor Kelly in our dialogue, I said, bro, but the church is saying it's West African Arabic. The church is not even saying at that time when we had the dialogue, their website said that. So I said to him, if this is your family and they're the ones that's saying it's West African Arabic at that time, 3 years ago or 4 years ago, then I have to go with what the church is saying because maybe they have historians who reviewed it. And he disregarded that. And I'm saying, you saying this is your family that runs this church? So if this is your family, ask them why they changed their minds. Why? I mean, that's all I'm saying to Pastor Kelly. You can't just jump out the window and say it's Hebrew because the whole thing is, I had this argument saying no one came off a slave ship that claimed to be a Hebrew or an
I remember.
Israelite,
What's the name of that video? That's on Dagger Squad YouTube channel?
It's on Soneta. It's on Soneta. It was a challenge to Captain Tazariak, I think, five years ago.
I'm talking about, I seen one this morning with you and Pastor Kelly talking.
Right. The one with Pastor Kelly, I don't know. That was like 4 years ago. It was like 4 years ago.
But that's on Dagger Squad?
It's on Brother Garfield Live. Okay. It's called The Pastor Beats Up Garfield. I call it The Pastor Beats Up Garfield. All right, but I do want to say though, whether I'm a believer or not, family, you gotta see the truth for what it is. And again, don't take my word for it. I have the document. You actually have it
from a Hebrew Israelite.
Exactly. So if Brother Berean want me to come on when I get home, I could show the audience if you want.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, do that.
I could go home and show the audience. Don't take Garfield's word for it. Take Dr. Ephraim Isaac's word. Don't take my word. Take the other scholar that was their word. Don't take Garfield's word. Amen. Take their word. And they're basically saying it's like magic when people chanting. That was his conclusion. It's like they chanting, you know. And the truth of the matter is, the documentary exposed that white folks like to document like we can't write. So now, if we can write, that means we come from a civilization where writing was. So we were intelligent. We could have built civilization. They don't want black people to come off that way. So white folks will say, no, it can't be a writing. This is where I lean toward an angle where Dante comes out when he talks about the history and how it's recorded. But the issue here is they have writings and other writings by Africans that came over. And the beauty of the documentary is it talked about the Jews living beside the slaves who were Negroes. Hey,
how far
that's
you from
another
the
part
crib?
of the documentary.
All right, just jump back
minutes.
on. All right.
4 minutes.
All right, no problem. All right, Alton, you already heard what it was, right? Yeah, I want Al. Come on, Alton, where you at?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Now, let me see, Minister Dante, where you at? All right, you see.
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Now, what were we discussing? What? I forgot what Alton was saying. You wanted to discuss something specifically, Alton?
Well,
with the Israel thing, I think it's important to understand. I think some mess has been inside there now. I'm not gonna ride with you on that right there. I think it's been some mess and some lies, and that has been, right. I believe, some of this. What's my man from out there in Liberty? What's the guy with that Christian Zionism stuff? John Hagee and them done twist the whole church up with some stuff.
Oh yeah,
Darby and them done twist the church up with some stuff.
Oh yeah. John Hagee, he's a false teacher, man. You know what I'm saying? That is a false teacher. Yeah, John. Yeah, he talking about full blood moons and all of this stuff here. It's like, come on, man. like go on with all of that stuff. But these are the kind of conversations that, like I said, folks in my circles and folks that I run with, we all hold a consensus that a person like John Hagee is a false teacher. You know what I'm saying? So if people are just now if they're just now hearing this, it's like, I don't know where you've been at, but we've been calling him that for ever since I've been, especially in the faith now. You know what I'm saying? So, and I can say that's been over almost 10 years now. So.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey,
somebody said that super chat money done got low. Boy, I'm worried about truth. I ain't worried about that bread. They're gonna get this truth. Go ahead.
The question was originally that Berean posed. He said, is there a lot of racism going on in the church that the church is not addressing? And, you kind of got off on the saying some way back in the slave ship days, slavery.
Yeah, correct.
Hold on. And can you really honestly say, just because, and you said, well, y'all under some weak teachings and stuff like that, but can you honestly say that the church is taking care of, African Americans here in America as a whole? Because I feel like we got a lot of stuff that needs addressed. And if we're supposed to be able to go anywhere, it should be the church. And I feel like they don't address Nathan when it comes to any of our social issues, communities, anything of that nature. And that in itself is a form of racism. It's like, yeah, come here, give us your money and learn this word, but we're not gonna do nothing for you though. You don't think that on a wide scale, that's not a thing?
First of all, we're living in the end of days. So yes, that is a problem. And again, this is a problem that, like I said, I don't know who y'all run with. I don't know what churches y'all been in, but this is what we talk about. You know what I'm saying? So I know churches, especially one that's around the corner from here. This is a church that my wife and we used to attend, and she grew up in this church. And every Saturday, they go out there and they pass groceries out, and people just come by in the line and they pick groceries up. They've been doing this, even before I was really deep in the faith. We're talking like 12 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So there are churches out here doing some stuff. The problem is that people want to see the Eddie Longs, they want to see the Jamal Bryants, the Brian Carrs will say, that's the church. That's when you say church, that's what people want to point to. But if you want to find a really good church, you can find a really good church. Now, of course, like I said again, we're living in the last days to where the word of God is being dumbed down and is being silenced. So therefore, it's going to be harder and harder to find churches that's going to touch on issues, for instance, like racism. Now, are there some racist churches out there? Yeah, there's some racist churches out there. But at the same time, you can't sit back and paint with a broad brush to say that all of the churches are racist. You can't say that all of these dudes, just because they're in the church, that they don't address racism.
Hold on. I want Shaft, look at read the screen. I think that was for you, for that question you asked Alton.
MC, why is that the church's responsibility? Well, if it's not their responsibility, then whose is it? You know what I mean? Like, the world don't got it right. So you tell me the church don't got it right either? Somebody got to have
Alton
right.
people wouldn't agree with that. Alton people say that's a social gospel. That's not biblical to just be running around getting all into civil rights movement and all of that stuff. That's all that most people that Alton mentioned that he's been studying under and stuff.
Oh, the reform clip.
Yeah, Berea, that's an example of weak leadership that he's talking about. Because if you read the Bible, what does it say to do to the fatherless and the widow? Let's talk about statistics. Who statistically has the higher chance of being a fatherless community? What does it say about how to treat the poor? Who statistically are the most poor people? I mean, we can go through the Bible point by point and look at how people are supposed to be treated. And if the church isn't addressing that, then that's a problem. And I get what Brother Shaif is saying. The church needs to address that because it's in the Bible, how to treat the poor, the fatherless, the widow. It says, woe to them who write unjust laws. I mean, we can go through all that.
I sent you the thing 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago, Rome down there in Orangeburg somewhere. You know them folk ain't the fastest. I sent that thing to you an hour. When you talk about Salam was in the hospital, we hope she all right, but we want to see them slides. Now, y'all gonna make me pull up my slides right here.
She been talking about them slides for weeks.
Yeah, Alton, what they're discussing, I think it's a little deeper than you may understand or want to admit. I think the church have been so influenced, and then what's hard is when I bring up the AME church and people that have been involved in it, it's been the Divine Nine, it's been Prince Hall, it's been the Alphas, it's been the Deltas and the AKAs that's been in the AME church, that's been in the Baptist church, that's been putting in that work with the civil rights. But these white Christians are saying that that's not the biblical thing to do, that's not biblical Christianity, and we don't have any place doing that. But our communities are hit the hardest. You understand?
Yeah, no, but see, this is kind of the bait and switch that a lot of people do. Is because they'll say that, oh, well, some of these folks in the church are saying that we shouldn't be talking about social justice issues. First of all, yeah, we talk about social justice issues, but you're not going to sit back and say that, oh, well, if you don't fight social justice the way that I'm doing it, well, then now you are part of the problem. That's totally unbiblical. And number one, if you actually read the Bible in Luke chapter 13, started at verse 1, Jesus addressed a social issue.
Amen.
Point, period. And
all right, go tell James White that. Tell James White your white friends that.
Oh yeah, and trust me, I've had conversations with James White, not on this, but I've had conversations.
Hey, Washington, I hope you ain't noisy in the background like BJ and them, all up in the club, all up in the coffee spot and all of that stuff. Go ahead, I just sent you the link. Oh, that's quite good.
But yeah, Luke 13, if you start at Luke 13, chapter 1, it talks about how Pilate, a Roman, went in and slaughtered a whole bunch of people that was in a temple. Jews, he slaughtered Israelites that was in a temple. And you know what Jesus's response was? He says, do you think that these Galileans were worse sinners than all other Galileans because they suffered this way? He said, no. He said, but unless you repent, you too will all perish. I mean, you got one group of people that's obviously in power, the Romans, who had another group of people, Israelites, killed, and Jesus was an Israelite himself. And what was his response? Repent or you too will all or likewise perish.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the disconnect here? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to social justice issues. Now, if we're going to focus on social justice issues, then we got to focus on some other stuff too. But at the same time, when we do see wrongdoing that has happened, yeah, we're going to call it out. Ain't nobody sitting around here talking about, oh yeah, whatever happened to George Floyd. Yeah. I mean, he deserved that. Everybody that I know looked at that video and was like, yo, that was messed up. That officer needs to be charged. So again, y'all got to listen to what people are actually saying instead of painting everybody with a broad brush.
Well, hold on a minute.
But y'all don't do that. Y'all don't do that.
Hold on. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, but what I'm just saying, like, I'll sit back and I'll explain this, and then somebody will turn around and say, well, how can still running around here with that James White, and then he believes that social justice issues are not an issue.
Well, nah, you say y'all need to listen to these mugs, but the problem is we is listening to them. I mean, I listened to Todd Frill before, Vadi Bokum, all the reform crowd, and they all have their whole focus is critical race theory. That's their big thing over there.
Yeah, get the devil out the church.
Oh,
they don't want to do that. I ain't thinking about voting them. Forgive me, Father.
Yeah,
I ain't thinking about them right there.
That's the whole. That's what I'm talking about. I pay attention to that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening. They rather blanket everything like, well, you know, I don't know. I just know for a fact. I kind of lost my words there, but I know
they under weak leadership. That's what it is. Like I'm saying, they are the weak leadership. That's what I'll keep calling them. The weak leadership. They are the weak leadership,
dude,
and this is why they don't want to address certain things. They want to avoid it when it comes. Now, notice. Ask them if they think the Holocaust is critical race theory, anything like that. When it comes to talking about the Holocaust.
That's the devil at work. That's the devil at work, and it's a bad.
But when it comes to the transatlantic slave trade, we're preying on people's emotions and everything for talking about our history. But when they talk about their history, is perfectly acceptable. And this is a huge double standard in the church.
Nah, no, it's not. Nah, we big up the Christians, all Christians, white and black, who had a who went out and helped during the slave trade.
I agree with that. I bring that out.
Come on. So don't sit back and try to be like, oh well, you know, y'all don't address this and y'all don't want to talk about slavery. Yo, we talk about all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Even when PragerU put up that video, I think it was like 5 months ago, but it just kind of went viral. Talking about Robert E. Lee, why the Robert E. Lee statue shouldn't come down. And then I forgot the guy's name who they tried to he was a pivotal guy who helped with the abolition of slavery. He was a white guy. I forgot his name. It just slipped my mind. But anyway, they tried to label him as a radical. Because
are you talking about Jim Brown?
Huh?
Are you talking about Jim Brown?
Yeah, I knew it was Brown. I didn't want to say. I was thinking James Brown, but I know it was something Brown.
Oh yeah. Lord, bless
you. The thing is that a lot of people, if you go to that video right now on PragerU and you look at that, everybody and their mama done thumbs down that video because nobody believes that Robert E. Lee should be upheld and that Jim Brown was some radical abolitionist trying to help black folks get free from slavery. Like, come on, man. Like, look into this stuff instead of just getting into your emotions and just saying, oh, well, y'all don't address. Nah, they're not addressing this stuff. You know what I mean?
Y'all do the same thing out.
I'm just saying, from what I gather, and you know, I watch everybody's videos from everybody's side. And it's not even, let's forget YouTube. Let's forget their PragerU videos and all that. Let's just get out into the streets and go to these churches. Let's go to Reform. Let's go to Lutheran. I'm just saying, even Christian evangelicals, they don't address anything for black people. That is true. That is very true. That's why a lot of black people don't want to come to church.
Well, who's doing more for black folks than the church? You tell me that. Who's put more money in the church?
I want to say one thing. After you think a lot of people are leaving the church, why do you think a lot of people leaving the church? Just because it's the end times, or because some people could be seeing some hypocrisy with the church, with what they would call Christianity, or I'm just asking at the after, but everybody in general, because some people are leaving the church. Yes, there are some silent churches. Yes, there are some church jumpers. Yes, there are some people that are confused. You think they went out from among us because they wasn't never part of us in the beginning?
I think it's a mixture of all of us. But again, you know what I'm saying? This has to do again with the end times. We're living in the end times where 2 Titus 2 and 4. I mean, with 2 Titus 4, or I'm sorry, 2 Timothy. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
2 Timothy.
You the same guy talking about James Brown. Go ahead.
I know, man. I'm trying to get dinner on and all of that stuff. But anyway, 2 Timothy, what says that in the end times, people will turn away from truth and they will fall into myths. You know what I'm saying? So we're seeing that. So therefore, when we do see a mass exodus from the church and people not wanting to have anything to do with Christ, and they falling into the conscious community, they falling into, Hebrew Israelism and all of that stuff. We see that happening today.
That's a problem right there, Berean. He says Hebrew Israelism as if it's a belief. Nobody's falling. Hold on. Nobody turned away from Christ.
You don't have to
Nobody turned away from Christ. We left that organization that we saw the hypocrisy in. We saw the lack of addressing black issues in. We saw the false teaching in. And the church, instead of saying, okay, we have a problem, they want to make excuses and say, well, if you left, it's because of this. No, we left because y'all are not addressing what Brother Shafe brought up. Y'all are false teaching. Y'all are doing a lot of hypocritical stuff, and a lot of people don't want that. Y'all are lying about history. You're upholding Europeanism, and then as soon as anybody black says anything about their culture, it's shot down as if we're putting culture on over Christ. But meanwhile, those Irish Catholics can hold a parade. They can have shamrocks and leprechauns and liquor and everything else to do with their culture. But if we just say the word black, that somebody had black skin, suddenly it's a big deal, and we need to leave culture alone, and it don't matter. Everybody else gets their culture except for us, and that's a problem.
All right, Alton, I want you to address that specifically. Washington, half an hour ago, I sent it to you in the email. Go ahead.
Once again, what Dante is trying to do, he's trying to divert. You know what I'm saying? So no, so again,
read the screen before you talk, Alton, and then go right into your thing.
He said it's the disrespect that the white church have for us. What does that mean? That's just a blanket statement. That has that says nothing. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can just say, oh well, you know, the white church been disrespecting us. Okay, well be specific. You know what I'm saying? Give some examples. Start name dropping. You know what I'm saying? Start giving some examples where the white church, quote unquote, has been disrespecting black folks.
You asking me?
I'm
Dante, who are you talking to?
Oh, well,
anybody.
Oh, the brother that posted up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So again, and I'm gonna ask
James White. I'll give you an example right there. James White. James White that said there's an anti-intellectualism, anti-biblical, all that stuff that James White said. We don't see the same energy going towards him or Jeff Durbin or any of these other white guys who constantly disrespect the black church.
How?
In fact, when we start
wait a minute.
James White cast a whole blanket, said the black church has an anti-intellectualism in it, and he included you, Alton, me, Berea, everybody. He said the black church is
Well, no, hold on. Wait, Alton. I gotta let Alton wait for a minute. Dante, say what you want. James White done said some slick stuff. He done said some slick stuff, but to be honest, do you see maybe it's a blanket thing. Do you see people? You don't see an anti-intellectualism within the black religious circles? Like, we don't want scholars. Y'all don't want the scholars. Y'all want to believe just what the pastors say. Why is Garfield in here quoting? You see, y'all. Some people don't want scholars in the church. They just want the pastor. They just want to believe. Is some of what James White said right?
It's in the black church and the white church. It's not just the black church. It's in the white church as well. Because when I was dealing with those European fringe Christians, it was a lot of Christians that didn't want the history. They didn't want to talk about the stuff in the Bible. They didn't want to get into Genesis 6. They didn't want to get into some of the Isaiah verses. They didn't want to touch Revelation. There's a lot of stuff that both black, white, and other Christians don't want as far as intellectualism. So when James White specifically targeted the black church, and we don't hear the same type of response that we
Nobody
get.
blowing shots at him.
Right. It makes me wonder, like, what's the agenda? And when Jeff Durbin can cuss and don't nobody say nothing, but they got something to say about the camps on the street. We got all that footage of Cherry Love cussing, but don't nobody say nothing. And they say something about the camps on the street. So it's a lot of hypocrisy going on in the church. Church people do some of the same things that Israelites do, but when it's Israel doing it, they act like it's a huge deal, and then they keep silent about people in the church doing the same exact thing. So I think it's on all sides, not just one or the other, but for him to target us is wrong.
Alton, do you feel? Come on, you said you felt like talking, right, Alton? You help us out right here.
Okay, now I'm gonna show you.
No, come on, show us all.
How Dante just contradicted himself. Now he was just saying 2 minutes ago that, oh, well, this the black church. Y'all ain't doing nothing. Y'all ain't been doing that. That's why people been leaving, because y'all ain't been giving us no sound doctrine, no sound teaching.
I didn't say the black church, brother. I said the church. Not the black church specifically.
But then now you want to turn around and be like, well, James White said that majority of the black churches are anti-intellectual. So is James White right that most black churches are anti-intellectual like you claim? Or is he wrong that most churches are intellectual? Most black churches are intellectual. So which one is it?
I was very specific. I just answered your question. I said it's on all sides. I said it's on all sides, and yet he wanted to single out the black church. That was the problem. All sides, white, black, and other, have an anti-intellectualism problem when it comes to church, but he wanted to specifically single out the black church, and Eric Mason called him on it. I'm not the only person saying it. Eric Mason said it too.
I got the clip on my channel.
That's fine. We got the clip of Eric Mason calling it out too, because he saw it just like I saw it, because I said I agree with Eric Mason on that. I was very open in public that I agree with Eric Mason, what he had to say about James White when he called James White a racist.
Do you know what the man said in this context? Do you even know what he was even talking about?
I have the video. I ain't gonna say everybody's seen the video. I've seen the video, but are you gonna sit up here and defend James White right now? No, I just want to know that. I'm siding with Mason. I'm siding with Mason. Make it clear. You siding against Mason or with Mason on this? Because everybody can't be wrong or right.
Oh no, Alton hating on the woke church. He'll be with us with the woke church. He prayed with Vody Beckham and them. They don't like that woke church nonsense.
So Alton just came up here to defend white supremacy, basically.
Get out!
I mean,
I gotta put him out of here right now. Shots fired. I gotta get rid of him. We don't want him around no more. Oh man, go ahead.
But I'm gonna ask you again, Dante. Is majority of the black churches anti-intellectual, or are they intellectual?
Again, the majority of people in churches are anti-intellectual. It's not a black or white thing. It's not about the race of the person, which is my problem with what James White said. I've seen it from all sides. I've seen it from all sides.
You got the clip. Why did James White say that? Did he just jump on the air and just say, "Oh, hey, all black churches or majority of black churches are anti-intellectual"? What was his reason for saying that you saw in the clip? What was his reason?
We can go back to what he was saying about critical race theory. All of this stems from that. All of this stems from that. There's a beginning. There's a beginning. You can't just jump to the middle and say that all this started at that video. That video was not the start of this.
Critical race.
He has been going back and forth with the woke church, and he has been making statements, just like when Jeff Durbin called them a whore that spreads their legs to everybody that passes by. We have never heard that language used towards white people in church ever. But then they get up there saying that the black church is a whore, the woke church is a whore, and the woke church is. I mean, he said some of the most disgusting stuff towards black believers in general. Woke church, I say this specifically woke church, not all black believers, but James White said there's an anti-intellectualism within the black church.
Why?
And a proper statement would be.
Hold on, Alton, I'm gonna let you go.
A proper statement would be there's an anti-intellectualism within church, period. It's not just the black church, but you want to sit up here and defend his racist statement because you want to break down why he targeted the black church. You tell us why he targeted the black church and left out the white church.
And I want yes. Now I'm gonna put you. Come on, Alton. You got the flow. Tell us why. In this context.
Okay, now, Berean, I want to know, do you remember this? This had to be maybe like two years ago, and I think this is maybe the first time that you invited me on your panel, and this is when you had a few other people on the panel. Right, and you asked me about that, and I said, listen, I haven't seen the clip. At the time, I didn't see the clip.
And you went and checked it out and then dropped the video, yes.
I sure did, and that was about 2 years ago. Yes, and I dropped the video in its context, and I think the video is maybe about 6 minutes long that I did. So, again, Dante can't even tell us what the context of the video was. James White wasn't even talking about critical race theory because critical race theory wasn't even a thing when James White made that statement. So why is Dante on here again? This is what he do with the Bible. He'll turn around and he'll just make these statements all out of context and then be like, well, y'all should have said this and said that. Dude, you got to keep stuff in context. The man wasn't even talking about critical race theory. He was talking about the camps, how the camps was out there wilding out. And he said that the reason why you have a lot of these guys from these camps is because they've left the churches that I'm talking about that is under weak leadership, that has the pastors up in there running amok, sleeping with all of the women. So when these guys have left the church, they go and jump into the camps. And then the camps go out there and start talking about Esau and white men are going to die and we're going to have y'all in bondage and all of this crazy stuff. So is Dante trying to defend those guys? That's what I'm asking. Is Dante trying to defend those guys that's in the camps that's out here doing all of this stuff? Or
now, Alton, nobody's defending the camps. I haven't appeared. You keep trying to make the link. Now, I'm asking you said I didn't tell you he was talking about critical race theory. I said it goes back to critical race theory, which you just said wasn't around. And if anybody wants to go do some digging on how long critical race theory's been around, it's 100% been around since before James White started talking about any of this. Critical race theory's been around for decades.
Yeah.
So for that statement Alton just made is false. Number two, nobody's defending the camps. I'm gonna get back to that. Nobody's defending anything the camps are doing. However, you can't talk about anything the camps are doing when you got Christians out here doing the same thing that the camps are doing, cussing people out on shows and telling them they ain't worth the flesh they printed on, and all the other stuff that they are doing out here, and y'all call them Christians. But when the camps do it, it's extra energy towards that. And that's the problem. It doesn't matter what James White was talking about. He's singling people out because, as I pointed out, that's a problem within the white church as well. Anti-intellectualism is a problem in general. And Alton is just trying to justify it because he's under that very weak leadership that he keeps talking about. Weak leadership will try to justify what white racism in order to attack black people. And if y'all notice, that's what he's going to do. Every time you bring up something a white Christian did, Alton will 100% defend that. And if you bring up something a black person did, Alton will go hard on that black person. And that's just the pattern we see. And that's the facts until I see Alton do something different.
All right. Hold on 1 second. Garfield, you ready? You ready, Garfield? Come on, Alton. Garfield in the background. He probably doing something.
Okay, now
you heard what we said, right?
Dante is just contradicting himself all over the place. Now he's saying that I never said that black folks, when black folks do something wrong, or when when we need to big up black folks, I don't say anything about that. Dude, I was just on here asking you directly, who has done more for the black community than a black church, and you still haven't given me that answer.
I never said the black church didn't do anything for the black community, though. So what does that got to do with anything?
Because you said that I'm not. You said that I'm not defending black folks. So how am I not defending black folks when I just said who is
not when it's against white people? No, you don't.
Oh my, dude, you trying to listen? You trying to divert right now?
I'm not trying to divert nothing. I'm talking the facts.
Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you again. What was the context of James White video when he said that?
Again, the James White video didn't start there. You want to start from the middle, just like y'all do with the Bible. Let's start from the beginning, the build up. Y'all don't want to get into the history. Y'all want to start from the beginning, and y'all never want to get in history about nothing.
I'm asking him a specific question. He keep going into something
again.
else.
James White is a racist. This is why he said what he said.
Stop it.
This is why he said what he said.
Stop it, Dante. Yes or no, Alton? Can you say yes to that statement, or that's wrong to say that?
You asking me?
Yes, he said James White is a racist. And you agree with that statement, yes or no?
No, that man is not a racist. It's not a racist. He's listen, I've met James White personally. There's nothing racist about this guy. Now, the thing is that people like Dante cannot get on with him.
I hate you, Dante. I hate Dante. I'm getting rid of him right now.
Dante
in the background laugh. Hey, yo, hold on, Alton. Hold on. Garfield, you ready? Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready, brother.
All right, come on. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Go ahead, bro. You got the floor.
All right. Peace and love, everybody.
Boo, I sent you an email. I sent you an email. Check your email.
All right. So this is Dr. Ephraim Isaac. You could look him up on, just Google him, just to know who we're talking about before I show the documentary, right? He's a brother that was born in Ethiopia. He's an Ethiopian American. He went to Harvard University. He's a scholar of ancient Semitic languages and civilization and African/Ethiopian languages and religion. He is the director of the Institute of Semitic Studies at Princeton, New Jersey, and the chair of the board of the Ethiopian Peace and Development Center. Dr. Isaac, listen to what he holds now. He holds a bachelor's in divinity from Harvard Divinity, a PhD in Near Eastern languages. Let me say it again.
That's right up his alley. That's right up his alley.
PhD.
That's his lane.
There you go. All right. So we're not going to go into anything else further about him.
And he an Israelite? He Hebrew?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is, my brother. Can't get around that. So now let me share this documentary right here. Let me share this documentary here.
Hold on, Alton. Hold on. Y'all got to hold on.
It's called The Cryptic Quest. All right. Cryptic Quest. If anybody wants to look it up, as you can see, the video the brother sent me is unlisted because he sold the documentary. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, the University of Cincinnati, why would a scholar a PhD Harvard scholar fly down to look at the pews if it wasn't something major for them to review? There's been debates for this for years in the African American community. So now,
Mr. Backtastic said, "Say yeah, you ain't lying." Go ahead.
All right, hold on a second here. All right, here we go.
And in shape,
make it big.
Many of them look alike. Ha, sa, ra, ri.
So all these letters are Ethiopic.
Yeah, that is Ethiopic. Okay. This is ha, this is sa.
Yeah.
And this could be na if it was straight like this.
There is now evidence to clearly show that some of the slaves came with skills of writing, which transcends the traditional models of illiteracy, albeit most were illiterate. In fact, most people from Europe and the West were illiterate in that.
All right, so that's the first 45 seconds. Let me click now to another section. All right, so people could see exactly what's going on. All right, so we are at 30. What is this? All right, here we go. All right, here we go.
In 1733, my fifth great-grandfather,
turn it up a little bit,
Jewish immigrant from Frankfurt on Oder, came across to America on a ship with about 40 other Jewish immigrants to Savannah. At the time, Savannah was a bit of a wilderness. The Jewish immigrants who arrived there were actually trying to reach Charleston. In terms of just Savannah in general, those Jewish immigrants settled there, arrived there in 1733. So that's 120 years of Jewish presence with African presence in a place by the Civil War, which had something like 15,000 people as its population.
The Jews who came to North America, while they certainly wanted to retain their religious identity, also certainly in terms of an economic livelihood, I mean, they did want to acculturate to their surroundings.
All right, hold on 1 second, Barry. Let me just pause it for 5 seconds and let's play some more of this. All right.
You're talking about a close-knit community where all strata of life interacted and overlaid and intertwined.
The diverse community in Savannah provided a unique situation where Black slaves and Jews were living side by side. Could this be a possible explanation for what we see on the side of the pews? Are there actually Hebrew letters mixed in with the Ethiopian letters?
Then that would look like a cursive top. As it is,
that's right.
As it is, it also, I have to see this closer up, but it also looks like a close-up.
Mute your mic, they say, Garfield, whilst they talk. Mute your mic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. However, nothing else on this panel really looks like a Hebrew letter. When you have something that looks like a Hebrew letter, it's in a context of things that don't look like Hebrew letters. So that the issue is, again, the issue is not the individual sign. It's what the signs add up to.
So far, none of the letters, symbols, or markings seem to form words, which may imply that they had a different purpose entirely.
All right, give me another 5 seconds. Actually, I just text Alvin Elmore. He said he's at a video shoot because I wanted him to come on because he's the guy that actually filmed it. You know.
Yeah, he's more than welcome to come on.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
The use of alphabetic symbols in magic is very well known, it's very ancient. In Ethiopia, for instance, already in the 4th and 5th centuries, they were using decorative letters, not directly in terms of symbolic 3 or 4 words, letters, but in terms of a geometric figure. A lot of the early magic, what we call abracadabra, they are not complete words, but they are letters. one prayer that is Akhida Shara, Akhida Shara, Akhida Shara, Akhida. I mean, just they use just a few of those words, and sometimes it may be just like ha 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 ha, la 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 la, ba 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 ba, ga 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 ga. This is, of course, the way of enticing the demon and defeat them.
All right. Yeah, man. That's it right there, bro.
That's now, but that does fall along the lines of what Minister Dante said he ran through with that Cambridge stuff right there. That might actually explain. Well, let me see what y'all say. That might actually explain some of the confusion. Where's he at? Go ahead. You want to say anything else whilst I'm looking through these comments? You must got another, Washington must got another email. As soon as I put your name in, it came up from 2 years ago unless you got a new email. I couldn't touch the paste because I don't got a message on your phone. Go ahead, Garfield. You got the floor. What you got to say on the whole thing?
I would just say that what we can do is go with what the scholarship has said. So if Dante has something where someone else has said something, and then look at what everybody who has actually done the work, and then draw your own conclusion. That's how you work with a scholarly from a scholastic point of view. But I do appreciate Dr. Ephraim Isaac being a part of this and giving some context. You know, he's saying there's no words there, but you have people saying like alphabetic letters in a chant like of some sort of magic. But the beauty of it that I got from it, that I'm glad that I knew about this, is that there are Africans that could write in the Americas before writing English.
That's right.
Shows that
Europe was still in a lot of ignorance.
Right. That's what the scholar said too. So that's another thing.
But you agree, and other people. Matter of fact, let me bring Alton on. Would Alton agree that some people have lied and twisted some things up and flipped it and act like they had all the light all the time when the light wasn't really with them?
Yeah, I think it's a shame. You know, I'm a non-believer and I'm looking at a believer. I've never seen anyone done this except for Zion Lex. Zion Lex did this years ago where he would fake scholarship and say in this book. And, you know, that's how I got popular on Sonnet a couple of years ago, because I did a refutation of him putting out. So like he would say like a book is in Jeremy Black's book in Sumer. It's not in Jeremy Black's book. You understand what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Throwing stuff here. Yeah.
So when I decided to do it, people say I was hating, but my point is, if we're about the truth, you should be glad that I fact checked the brother. It's just like when I come out with my book, I want people to fact check what I put in my book, because that doesn't mean what I'm saying is true. It's just like the documentary. Nobody believed me by my word, but they actually saw that there's a physical documentary right now that the people could go back and probably find out from the University of Cincinnati or whatever. Or if they want a clip from it, they could take the clip from that's been on your video now. They could go back and say, let me look at what, you know, because I could just show as much. That's why I'm stopping it every
No, that's good. No, I appreciate you coming on. And if that brother want to jump on, you let me know or just hit me in the email. I want to get back to these two right here. All right, man.
Brother Brian, I gotta cut out in a minute. And I do can I share my screen real quick?
Yes, sure.
And then Alton can respond, but
you want me to hold Garfield on?
No, not Garfield. Like I said, I don't have nothing to say to Garfield.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, I'm not addressing the pews at all.
Okay, all right. Good. What you say? Hold on, Garfield. A boo in here. Hold on. Go ahead. I put him out too. I put you out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
All right, yeah. I got my screen ready to show whenever you.
Where's it at? This is your screen here?
No, that's a boo.
Oh, okay. I thought so. Hold on. I don't see your screen.
I have it on share. It says I'm sharing right now, but it's not showing on the screen.
No, I just see a boo, Alton, and Garfield here.
Let me do it again.
Now you gone. Now you back on. You was gone. I think you put yourself out or something.
All right, there we go.
Where's that? Oh, down here. I got you. All right, go ahead.
All right, right here is the statement on social justice. To respond to what Alton was saying about James White not being a racist.
Yeah,
this is the statement on social justice, and right here are the people that signed it. You have John MacArthur, you have James White right here, Alpha and Omega.
All these people. That's out the people right there. Keep going back.
This is on statement on socialjustice.com. Now, right here where it says we affirm, this is the same website, statementonsocialjustice.com. We affirm that racism is a sin rooted in pride and malice, which must be condemned and renounced by all who would honor the image of God in all people. Such racial sin can subtly or overtly manifest itself in racial animosity or racial vainglory. Such sinful prejudice or partiality falls short of God's revealed will and violates the royal law of love. We affirm that virtually all cultures, including our own, at times contain laws and systems that foster racist attitudes and policies. So while Alton is sitting there making a definitive that these people aren't racist, right there in their statement that they signed, they say that they affirm that there's racism within their own communities. So to say that it just doesn't.
Let me get Alton because Alton, I want to see Alton.
I got about 5 minutes. I'll listen to Alton respond.
Okay, all right. Appreciate it. All right, appreciate you having you on, bro. Alton, go ahead. You respond on that you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm
go
about
ahead.
to get off in a minute too. But listen, I signed that statement. I signed it as well. So if Dante keeps going out, I actually signed it as well. So anyway, what did he just read in the statement? That racism was sinful, right? Come on, man. So if Dante could reread it, or Dante put the link in the chat so people can
hear him?
Didn't they just say that they believe that racism is sinful, and that not only that they've been a part of that too, not them directly, but there are people that are part of their race that have been a part of racism.
Alton, he said, including our own, but you're saying not them directly. They signed in the affirmative, and as you said, you signed it too.
Their race, dude.
But here it is right here, statementonsocialjustice.com. I can't drop links in the chat, but statementonsocialjustice.com. You guys can go there. You guys can read every single point for yourself.
Yep.
And we went over this on my channel. On my channel, I went through it, the whole thing, point by point, and I pointed out some of the contradictions found in there as well. We didn't stop. We didn't half do it. We went through every single point, and there's a lot of contradictory stuff in there. There's a lot of nonsense in there. But again, if anybody wants to read it, I got to get out of here. Statementonsocialjustice.com. You can read the whole thing for yourself.
All right, appreciate it, man. Good having you on. Thank you so much. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Good evening to everyone.
Good evening. What's going on with you? This is who are you? Tell them who you are first before I explain how you went to the North Pole and came.
I
hate this dude.
No, I don't think I'm anyone significant. Just an amateur apologist with some, an interest in Semitic languages, and that's how I fall on the issues of, the pews and also Lashawan Kodash and stuff like that. That's all.
What did you hear? What was said with Garfield and the documentary?
I actually wanted to address one thing real quick because I was actually.
Yeah, Garfield is here. You hear Abu Garfield?
Yeah, I'm here, my brother. Hey, peace and love, Abu. That's my fam right there, man.
Likewise. Good evening. Good evening to both of you. One thing that Garfield said that I actually wanted to touch on it, because I was thinking of making a video on the plausibility of Arabic on a church pew, because I saw an interesting comment from Mr. Blacktastic and then from Benaiah Israel. They felt it was implausible.
Shout out to Benaiah Israel if he want to jump on.
Yeah, then I like him. He's a real gentleman.
And I don't mean to cut you off. And even when he came on last time and you brought some things up, he said, yes, it's a scholarly thing and it's a process. He had a different energy than what Pastor Kelly and them had trying to talk about checkmate and shut it down. Come on, good. You got the floor.
Benaiah's a real class act. I have a high regard for that gentleman. And what I was going to say, though, is so Garfield said that the documentary showed that he felt it was moving that there is this implication of literacy amongst the slaves. The reason why I brought up, I'm thinking about doing a video now. I definitely think I'll do it on the plausibility of Arabic. What I was going to touch on is that there was quite a bit of literacy in specifically Arabic amongst a number of slaves across the Americas. In a previous video, I showed that there's a document at the University of Pennsylvania where someone, a slave in Haiti, wrote out something by hand, and it turned out he was writing the Surat al-Ikhlas, the 112th chapter of the Quran from memory. There was a slave.
Yes, and you said some magical quote and the spell thing.
Oh no, that's what Garfield was saying. This gentleman was pretty much writing out a Quranic chapter
Oh, the last ayat or something in the Quran. Yes, I do remember the other video. Yeah,
so,
yeah, go ahead.
But also there was a slave revolt in Bahia, Brazil, in which the slave revolt was partially organized by slaves who were literate in Arabic. So they were passing notes, find their notes, they still couldn't do anything with it because it was in a language they didn't understand. But aside from that, even if we take it just to the Americas, there are people like there's a famous slave named Umar ibn Said, who was wrote entire treatises right around the same time that the church was built in the 1850s. He was writing entire treatises in Arabic, and there was another gentleman, I think he was in Sapelo Island in Georgia. I forget his name now, but they call his writings like the Bilali documents and stuff like that. And he was writing in Arabic, although his form of Arabic was somewhat less familiar. But nonetheless, the point is, we do have a number of examples of slaves who were quite literate in Arabic and quite well educated. Mustafa Azemori, who was the first slave in what's now the continental United States, was fluent in Arabic. They call him Estabanico or Esteban el Negro and stuff like that. But yeah, in the 1520s, he was brought to Florida by the Spaniards, and he was literate. So yes, there's definitely a history of very literate slaves in the Americas, including the continental United States, but not limited to it.
All right, hold on one second. All right, Agatha, you want to say something on that? I see you got to on the screen.
Yeah,
you want to, Orthodox More, hit me if you want to jump on. BereanTeacher@gmail.com. Washington, I'm trying to get to this thing. I don't know how this thing is coming up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Listen to this part of the video, going to what brother Abu just said.
You said okay.
In fact, most people from Europe and the West were illiterate in that time.
William Hodgson went around recording Africans writing in these Afro-Asiatic languages. Hodgson later said he had all this access before to these Africans, but then later on, it stopped. He said that he was no longer allowed to have contact with them. Why is that? Because we understand politically what was happening. Because Europeans had said that Africans had no civilization. But because now he was showing that, in fact, these Africans had civilization by writing, that meant the abolitionists were now going to use that against them and say, they have writing, so that means they have civilization. So it's now going to debunk the myths of the stereotypes of saying Africans were uncivilized. In fact, Hodgson now realized
leave the toys in the toy box.
Garfield, mute your mic.
Yeah. All right, we good. I could stop there.
Okay, all right, good stuff. Abu, but with the whole thing, let me make the screen small. Abu, with the whole thing.
No, am I here alone now?
No. Go ahead with the whole thing, Abu. That end up jumping off with the pastor and this whole Richard Katz thing.
Yeah, I could comment on that.
Please.
One thing I would say is that, and I would ask the people if they want to know my position, they look at specifically my videos on my account. Even though the videos about Richard Katz had a certain, they had an atmosphere to them of like someone being exposed. It wasn't my intention to embarrass anyone or expose anyone. I felt that my hand was forced on that one because they were citing this as a source. Like, I have no desire to embarrass anybody. My desire was that we strictly focus on the markings on the pews and discuss that. But because they were citing these scholars, there had to be an effort to address what was going on. So I had to address the misrepresentation of Bunis and I'm sorry, but the non-existence of Katz,
Did you talk to Bunis? Because somebody did post up in here about you done harassed them people, you scared them off, and basically this is why Pastor Brown is protecting this gentleman, and he has a right to protect him under confidentiality or whatever, however these people want to word it. What do you think about that?
So yes, I did correspond with Bunis. Nobody harassed Bunis. So what happened was,
did Bunis change his position?
No, he didn't. See, this is the thing. Let's be clear about this, because this whole fantasy about Bunis being harassed was concocted to distract from what actually happened. So let's give the history here. On the 22nd of November, in that infamous Boom Church panel discussion, what Brown said was that Bunis confirmed everything that Benaiah had said and wound up giving his stamp of approval to a full sentence in the Solitreo script.
Yeah.
And the thing was, Brown even gave a translation of that sentence. And the
translation with a loud voice.
Yeah, take grasp of
bass,
Yah,
yeah.
Israel, with a bass voice. Yeah. And
that's on Faithful. Where's that video? Whilst you talking, I might have to pull that up.
That's
but
on my
ahead.
account, and it's on Faithful's account. And I could send you the link to the actual video itself. But the point is, that was all untrue, and so I was the one who brought that out. I contacted Bunis. I asked him about that, and nobody harassed Bunis. Bunis just made clear that he was misrepresented in that regard. Those claims were all false. And so what they found is a number of people emailed Bunis, and just one person mentioned Israelites in his message. And the reason he did so is because his former students, he's an educator, some of his former students had Israelite leanings, and they were moved by that video, and they were telling him things that were connecting the pews to claims of Israelite heritage. Now, I've always said those two subjects should be kept separate. They should be kept separate. Don't mix the lineage question with the language question.
And they can't, and it's possible that they can't stay separate.
Well, I do think they can be separated because I think they're irrelevant to each other. But because the Boom Church panel conflated it so much, it wound up influencing this guy's former students, and that's why they made that connection. And he recounted what they were saying in his email to Bunis, but he wasn't harassing Bunis. You know, I mean, it's preposterous. And so what they did is with the Cats. I'm sorry, just to be blunt, with the Cat's sock puppet, they get him to more explicitly say what they speculated was the case with Bunis. They get the Cat's character to say, "Oh, someone wrote to my university and said that I'm a member of I'm tied to a hate group in the United States." This is all. I'm sorry, but it's fiction. It's pure fiction.
All right, I don't know if that screen up there is for Garfield with the slaves and the Hebrews, but so you don't think that Cats existed? What made y'all even go about? So I want you to talk about that whole email thing and the IP address, and when you started noticing this PhD and the continuous letters. Of course, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, man, Abu's trying to blow up the finesse. I'm trying to do one thing over here. I know Minister Dante giving out gifts. You done went to the North Pole, then came back. You moving like MI6. You moving like the Mossad. You moving like, listen, this is some FBI, KGB. This is some Scotland Yard stuff, because you're comparing handwriting, you're comparing typing, and you're comparing IP address. You're comparing the run-on sentences. And to me, it was too much to ignore. And people want to be offended and say that I'm carrying this Pew thing on. But I felt this was some relevant things, and I kept pushing it, and I'm going to continue to push it. What made you start? Why you do what you do? Only you and Sister Cherry. Maybe I asked after one. Only two of y'all. Why you do that?
Well, see, the thing was, so at first I wanted to ignore the Cats thing. I saw it when it first aired, when they first invoked Cats, and I remember at the time I just kind of rolled my eyes because I wasn't paying close attention, but I was waiting for them to actually get into the markings of a pew and point to, where these alleged statements are. So I noticed that they were claiming that some scholar had claimed that he had found certain words, but I was like, they're not showing where it is. So I was just sort of shrugging my shoulders until they could provide more information. I didn't pay close attention. And then Faithful told me, first off, I noticed people started telling me that it was like the end of the discussion. They got a scholar to definitively say it's not Arabic.
Trying to shut it down. I ain't feel that in my spirit. I ain't feel that right there.
By the way,
I said these are some this manipulation, and it's fine. Go ahead.
Well, that's what it's been continuously for over a year. It's been one attempt after another to try to end the discussion. So first it was, we can't have a discussion because you offended me, right? That was the first one. And they were threatening litigation. Then it became, well, we got Bunis to back an entire sentence, so it's done. The discussion is done.
Apologize, take down the video.
Yeah, everybody has to apologize. And then when the thing with Cats, we have the scholar who's said definitively, these things, it's done. At every step of the way, the point was that the whole point was to shut down the discussion and prevent further examinations of the pews, further discussion. The whole idea of like, you're just a student, so you can't speak on this issue, which is not the way academia works. No professor would ever say that. I've spoken, now the students all have to be quiet. Nobody can ever question me. Nobody can examine it. That's not the way academia works. But anyway, with the Cats thing, what happened was first, people started saying after the show aired that was like one of the most significant things for them, right?
Wait, no, do me a favor. Hold on a minute. Do you got a couple of minutes?
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna let you. Carl wants you to answer this, but I want Garfield to jump on this too. I'm gonna let Garfield on so he can go, and I'm gonna send and I'm gonna let you get on here, and I'm gonna send Mr. Orthodox some more of that link. But I want to make sure we walk through this thing real slow. This is the main reason I got on. No, Garfield, you go first. Oh, you want to share a screen?
Yeah, I want to share the screen because I want to.
Why were there Hebrew names on coming off the slave ships or something?
Right. Exactly. So what happened, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, is that only 822 names had the YAH in it, right? If you look at the first name here, Brother Bereen, I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm going to show an email where I actually email slave voyages. Nyamoli, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a Hebrew name, Abu? Have you ever heard this name?
No, not to my knowledge.
Or
That's the thing, I mean,
Inya, or
just
Akea?
because it has
All
Yan,
right,
it doesn't
watch
mean
this.
it's
Watch this
it
now.
doesn't mean it's Hebrew.
If you notice, the embarkation is Bunny, right? The disembarkation where the people went were Freetown. All 822 of them went to Freetown. Where is Freetown, Brother Bereen?
I don't know where Freetown is.
All right, Sierra Leone, right? Sierra Leone over that side.
Yeah.
Now watch this. Watch this now.
Just because what you just said, Abu. Just because Ja's in it. Go ahead. I'm gonna write that down.
Watch this now. Watch this now.
Just because
Nyamoli, and this is for the guys that are watching. None of these guys came to the United States of America or to the Caribbean or to South America. They went from Africa to Africa. But watch this. In the pronunciation of the names, hold on, let me look on the screen and see if you guys could see this. Okay, let me switch screens real quick so you could see what I clicked on. Brother Bereen, share this right now. This is when you click on view, ladies and gentlemen, it leads you to this. If you look at the names, it says as it appears on registers, it's Noamabe, Noamabi, or Nyamoli. You see, the name changes. So now they say the possible modern counterpart is Nyamoli. So now it's not even a name with a YAH in it. It had to do with the people who are pronouncing the name. Is Garfield telling the truth? Watch this now. Watch this. I'm gonna show you how good Garfield is at this game right now. Look at this. I'm gonna share the email that the people from Slave Voyages sent me. Look at this now. Look at this. I'm gonna go to my email, question on names. So I wrote an email to Slave Voyages. They wrote me back and told me why. They basically said the names, it had to do with the people who were, it's an illegal slave trade after 1820. If you notice after the date, it's from 1821 to like 1828. Slavery was already finished. So this was the illegal slave trade. They was trying to smuggle people back to England or to the Caribbean, and they got stopped, turned back, and went back to Freetown in Liberia or Sierra Leone. So they never came to the West, and these were not Hebrews. It had to do with the Cuban, the Spanish speakers, and the English speakers who were trying to pronounce African names. That's all.
Wait a minute, but Carl, is that the list that everybody brings up? For people?
Yes.
But what were you just saying about? What were you just saying about? Because you see Yah in the name.
Well, no, I'm just going to say that seeing a YAH in a transliteration isn't enough for me to conclude that it's Hebrew. But again, what I would say also is that it's not a big issue for me relevant to the subject we were discussing. I mean,
all right, so that okay.
Suppose there was an unambiguously Hebrew name, like I don't know, like let's say it said something like Zachariah ben Yitzhak or something like that. Even if there was an unambiguously Hebrew name amongst, say, the slaves in a certain slave database, I wouldn't see how that would be relevant to the question of what appears on the pews.
Hey, Abu.
Oh, you're not the all right. That is separate.
One second, Barry. Slavery was not abolished in America, but the slave trade was abolished 1807 in the UK and 1808 in the United States. The slave trade, not slavery. So the person who said that Obadiah Yasharala, Garfield, slavery wasn't finished in 1821, I agree. I
don't know what's going on in the comment section. Carl Jr., I'm talking about the super chat. Carl said, I often hear this a lot. If these people were not Hebrews, this is something that people use, that they were Hebrews that came off because these were the names that they were captive. They were taken captive with these names and they wrote them down. After they came ashore, they gave them different names. I believe this is where this gentleman is going with this Garfield. He's trying to prove something different, not the pews. You understand, Abu?
Yeah, I understand.
You understand, Garfield?
Carl Jr.? Hold on 1 second. What he's saying, Bareen, is that the people on that list that I showed you, there are 822 people. Out of the 822 people, Bareen, none of them came to America. None. Zero.
And you're sure you believe he's talking about that same list and not another
list? Same list with the Yah names. That's what he's talking about.
All right. I did hear that. I heard that another time. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. All right, go ahead, Abu. Oh, you got the floor. I want to get back to the story. I appreciate you, Garfield. I'm putting you in the back. Come on, my boy. I want to get back to the story now. I hope I didn't put him out. Did I put him out too? Yeah, I did.
Okay,
Come on
so
back
again,
in. Uh-huh.
so the thing with cats was, like I said, when I first saw it, I didn't pay close attention, but I felt like there wasn't much to say because they weren't showing specific pews. They were sort of alluding to that he looked at some pew and he saw something on it. And it's like, I want to see what he looked at, and until then, I can only shrug my shoulders. Now, but the problem is that people started telling me that, there were people who were very convinced by that. They were moved by that. They felt that ended the discussion. We have this definitive statement from a scholar. And then I was like, all right. And then Faithful started telling me, man, you need to look into this and, look into it. And then he told me, I was like, Then, as I mentioned in the video, he hit me with something that sounded crazy. He said, what if this guy doesn't exist? Because he said he tried to find him on the internet, because so maybe we could reach out to him and get some clarification. What pew did you look at? And when he told me that, I was like, that's crazy. They wouldn't do that, But then I started looking into it, and the first thing that became a problem for me, it was glaring. It was troublesome. I didn't allow it to convince me that he didn't exist. But the first glaring problem, when I started looking for it, there's absolutely no trace of specifically a Tel Aviv-based university professor of Hebrew named Richard Katz.
Have you ever seen that before in your few years of being involved in education?
No, I mean I suppose it's possible, but in my experience, in academia, which admittedly was limited, I didn't finish grad school, but the thing is, in my experience, that's highly unlikely. An established professor usually has published, material, especially if you're going to get tenure, you have to be published. But, they have a footprint, there's a faculty page at your university. There's, there's stuff that you've published. There's stuff that you've written that's online. There's all kinds of stuff. And so for there to be absolutely no trace of this professor, that was a huge red flag for me, And then, I'm sorry, do you want me to answer this?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just put it up here. But Abu, like I said, with Abu, we're trying to keep separate the pews and the language from who Israel is. It seemed like some people would come and try to make him want to prove the thing. He don't really, do you? I don't think so. He don't even want to touch that part right there. Like Elder Mike don't even want to touch that part. A lot of people that come on here, they come on for specific reasons. When y'all see Elder Mike dealing with that doctrine and law and grace, Judaizers, Acts 15, Galatians, that's what Mike dealing with.
Well, I'll say this,
Deuteronomy 28. Go ahead.
Because people keep mixing the identity claim with the pews, what the problem is, with all due respect, people put themselves in an emotional state where then they misinterpret disagreement about the pews as an attack on their identity claims. So I'll say this.
That's what makes it problem.
This is what I'm going to say. This is really why I see the identity stuff as irrelevant. Even if, suppose tomorrow I became convinced, I looked at Dante's website and I concluded that the vast majority of the African diaspora are bloodline descendants of Jacob. Even if I could believe that, it would not change my position on the pews. It wouldn't change it at all. There's no connection there, But so now, with regards to Richard Katz, as I was saying, the first red flag was that there's no trace of this professor. And like you said, there was the gentleman who described himself as a plumber. He said he found a Richard Katz,
yes,
Georgia, and it turns out this guy's like he has 2 degrees in English, and then his PhD was in Gothic.
German,
and he apparently doesn't know Hebrew. It was like what we're talking about is
it wasn't even the man. That's not the man.
Absolutely not. We're talking about specifically a Hebrew professor, university-based Hebrew professor based in Tel Aviv named Richard Katz. There's no trace of them. I even did searches in Hebrew. I asked academics I know in Israel. They were saying they've never heard of this guy. That seemed highly unlikely. That was number one. Then number two, I started looking at the emails, and it was interesting how the Katz emails were written in a style that was very similar to the writing style of William Brown, with the run-on sentences, with being very sparing with his punctuation, a lot of it was very similar, and that became alarming as well, And then I started noticing that, for example, Brown shared a screenshot of the first email. What's this? You all are welcome to.
That's Mr. Black Tax. He messing around.
We have no pews to write on, so talk about 1,000 years later. All right. So as I was saying, then I noticed, there were other little things, like for example, he would capitalize the H in PhD, that's
nobody but
yeah. I mean, that's highly unlikely. There's so many of these like things that come up that are highly unlikely. And so all of it started adding up. There were other things, like, for example, he showed a screenshot of his first reply that he received from Katz. And from the timestamps on it, you could see that he had opened the email, read it, and taken his screenshot all within like a minute of it hitting his inbox, which, it's possible, but it doesn't seem likely. And so there's this pile up of of curiosities and coincidences. And then what we did was we concluded at that point that probably Katz is Brown. And so we took a chance writing to a Yahoo address. I know Brown wrote that we must have been reaching out to all kinds of different addresses. We didn't. I only reached out to one email address, that one, hoping that that he would respond. And I specifically put a post up. Oh, this is Amir. Amir is, I'm a big fan of Amir. He says, the question is what Hebrew, that's another thing. When we looked a little closer, when the few things that Katz, who's supposed to be a Hebraist, said about Hebrew,
elementary stuff that somebody would be missing.
It seemed like he didn't know Hebrew. It was very strange. And so we concluded that it's probably the case that Brown is Katz, right? We had already reached that conclusion. So we sent that email out, and I specifically posted before he responded. I put up a Facebook post. It's public. People can see it. They can check the timestamps on it. I put up a Facebook post predicting that it was going to be he was going to he was going to reply from the same Android. That was what we were predicting. And so what happened, we get the reply. Not only is it the exact same model phone, it's the exact same operating system, the exact same revision of the app that they were using, and then the SPF IP. It was sort of like the cherry on top. I know people acted like we made the whole argument about the IP address. I didn't. The SPF IP being in common was like sort of the cherry on top. The way I described it, it was almost like a God wink. It was like God was winking at us, And for me, at that point, and the funny thing is, even Kelly Richardson said,
it's like he knew.
Well, that was another thing. Those were some of the other curiosities. One of the things that really caught my eye when Faithful first told me about it was,
I sent Sister Eda a link. Let Kelly come on and expose us. Please do. Please let Pastor Kelly come on. He could jump on. He'd like to jump on. He could jump on. Pastor Brown could jump on if he'd like to jump on. Pastor Kelly,
if I can say something about that,
yes, he do. He need to pull up. Go ahead.
I've always invited dialogue with Kelly Richardson.
I've seen the video where you said you posted in Sister E group, and I remember everything was going on back then, and she said she had a talk with y'all, and I thought y'all were going to do something, and then I don't know what happened, but you said a few days later it came down.
Well, no, so yeah, there was a few months between that. There was I thought Faithful was going to organize some sort of telephone conversation because I was very busy, so I wasn't checking my messages. There was going to be some sort of a telephone conversation between me and Kelly Richardson and Sister E or something like that, because I did get to speak to Sister E once on the phone.
She told me the next day.
And there was some sort of confusion about that, and so that fell through. And then months later, what I did was I was already a member of her forum. I asked her specifically, I told her I would like to start posting about the subjects in your forum. And I still have the messages, most of them, saying, we can have a dialogue here. And I was telling her one of the great things about her forum, if we discuss it in her forum, is we don't have to try to reconcile our schedules. Because I know everybody has busy schedules. I have a very busy schedule. And so we don't have to be online at the same time. Like I could write something and then Pastor Kelly, when time permits, he could write his response without him being rushed, right? And she said that, she goes, that's fine, that's okay. And so we waited a few days, and then what happened back then is you could see in her forum whether or not a person had seen your posts. Yeah. And I kept checking to see if Pastor Kelly had seen
a little face come up next to it. Yes.
Yeah. And so when he did see my post, I noticed it, and within like a couple of hours, all my posts were deleted. I was kicked out of the forum, and then the forum was set from public to private,
And you was kicked out of it.
Yeah, I was kicked out of it. Yeah. And I felt that it was most likely the case that it was Kelly Richardson convinced her to do that, because before that happened, she seemed receptive to the idea of us having the dialogue. But the point of that story is I've always been open to dialogue with Kelly Richardson. From my very first videos, I've always said, I've always been, that's always what I've been interested in. I look forward to his responses. And unfortunately, over the course of a year, it wasn't until after 14 months that he even looked at a pew and suggested markings, Like over the course of 14 months, it was, him threatening litigation, saying he was offended, accusing me of witchcraft, just and then stuff that was
and then extra stuff coming in. Look on the screen. Somebody, if I remember right, somebody said, who mentioned the pews to begin with? Pastor Kelly and Brown. One of the reasons that I would often speak about them is because they said they had parents, grandparents, they had people that weren't like Sister E and others that came into it. They were people that he went. I remember him originally going and promoting the video like an evangelistic tool. Our people were Hebrew. If you see, this is Hebrew on the pews, and if you look at the pictures from left to right, that's my uncle, and this is the way the Hebrew. So he promoted it like another piece of evidence on top of all of the other evidence. So when Abu and Sister E started talking, and different people started talking, correct me if I'm wrong, she said I think it was a problem with Faithful on who platform it was going to be on, but the information was challenged because of the language. Forget all of the other stuff, but for some reason, Pastor Brown, because that's his family, and Pastor Kelly, because that's their family, they were pushing the narrative. And then they started dropping videos and saying stuff. Oh, shut down. What he said, checkmate. People need to apologize to Pastor Kelly. Take down the video. The energy was real. It was too much. The energy was too strong.
Multiple times he declared no more discussion. No more discussion. I mean, originally it was no more discussion because he was offended. Then it was no more discussion because Boonis had proven it true. It's so many times.
Then these goalpost lies. Then somebody started running around talking about they changing the goalposts. No, Negro, straighten out what you said. I'm sorry, I'm getting ignorant. Go ahead, brother.
What I would say is that, well, regarding the question of who mentioned it first, in my experience, now Kelly Richardson was already discussing it before I got interested in the subject.
Yes, he
but
was.
The way I experienced it was I was a member of Vocab, has a forum where Christians and Israelites dialogue, and I was in there, and people were bringing that up as like sort of a piece of evidence, like, how do you explain the cursive Hebrew appearing on the pews? And so I started looking at the pews, and I was saying, honestly, I don't agree with your premise. I don't see any cursive Hebrew on these pews. And I would try and discuss it with people, and nobody really wanted to get into discussing the markings. They just sort of expected me to take it on faith. And so as I pressed some of those people, that's when people started telling me, well, there's this guy, Kelly Richardson. He's the man to go to, he's the guy. He sort of already had a name as someone who's like, the closest thing to, I don't know if an expert is the right word, but, he's so... they were telling me, why don't you address his videos? He broke it wide open or something like that. So I did. I made a very, very respectful 2 videos, because what I noticed with his video, it was the same problem or the same concern, where the claim is made, but he never looked at the pews. He never looked at the markings. A lot of people were very impressed with his video.
Very impressed.
But the thing was,
because he's one of the leaders in the Messianic movement. These guys, a lot of them don't have real big congregations, but they're on multiple platforms. They're dropping videos. He's been doing Facebook a few years now, talking about waking up black people and stuff. So he's one of the leaders in this movement right here.
Yeah, I remember they had an Israelite conference. Someone had showed me there was.
That's right, and he went and Pastor Dowell and them. I think
and with Kwete Bezelama and Zion Lex, and he was he was part of this very select elite. So people were telling me to watch his videos because, his video, he had one video, I think it was called The Erasing of History or something like that.
Yes.
And so I looked at it. It raised for me the same concerns that I saw in the Facebook posts from people who were making this argument. And so I made a very respectful video about methodology, where if you're going to make a claim about any language, it doesn't have to be Hebrew, Arabic, Vietnamese, Yiddish, whatever. If you're going to say there's discernible language on the pew, you need to look into the markings and start transcribing what you think appears there. And it's a simple method, right? And so then I made a second one because I noticed he had said it's definitely not Arabic. He said that. So I did it like as sort of just as a thought experiment. I showed him how he could go about demonstrating language, and I made my hypothetical case for Arabic. So then he did a show with Sister E where he threatened litigation. I have a video on this. He talked about how he could raise a case against us for defamation, which was, I found to be shocking because I didn't insult him at all. I didn't defame him. I was like very, very respectful. And, so I made another video on that. And that's when, later on he started talking about how offended he was. And, there's no more dialogue because he's so offended. And even though there was never any dialogue to begin with. And then, and it went on like this, on and off. It would pop up again and again. And he would continuously, he made something like 6 videos over the course of like a year where each video is over an hour long, and never do any of it. Wasn't until December of this of 2020, so it was more than a year later. We started in October of 2019. It wasn't until December that was of the following year. So it's like 14 months, he finally suggested a string of characters for a pew, you know. But
yeah, you see what my man Shaft the Berean. You know I'm gonna keep calling you Staff anyway. That's how my mind work. I'm sorry, I don't mean no disrespect. He said Pastor Kelly and Jacoba on there. Pastor Kelly was in the conversation, but he don't want to come on. He offended because he was hitting me on my jack. He was hitting me, trying to tell me. I said, listen, I don't really talk to Faithful like that, but I'll reach out to Abu. I'll reach out to Vocab. Vocab was like, all right, I'll come to, we'll come to work something out. To a certain extent. He said, I'm willing to, but it could be a little extreme, but you hear it out, whatever it is, you tell me, and and we'll see if we can work things out. It's no problem. Pastor Kelly, y'all hear me right now today? Pastor Kelly want to manipulate the situation. Jacoba jumped on for a minute, but then I had him in the back room. He jumped back off, so they going to do a live over there to say whatever they saying. Pastor Kelly is a liar. William Brown is a liar. They lied. That's all it is. All they got to come and say, yo, we try to swing it, we try to hustle it, and that's that. If you don't produce the man, you a liar. Period. That's my position right here.
If I could be honest, if they did say, like, okay, and I'm not pushing this on Kelly necessarily, but if Brown did say, okay, I made a mistake, I shouldn't have made that character up, personally, I would not gloat. I would want to drop the subject because this is an ugly turn
that's my man. It's not worth it for us to move, and that's my people over there. But I get offended when other people want to ride. This is what makes me think, yo, did Jacoba know? Jacoba want to ride because he's in the cult, and that's cult mentality, and their nation building. I'm kingdom building. Kingdom is truth. No matter how you look at it, kingdom of truth. These folk over here, they want to build a nation, but nobody. Drew Ali tried to do that. The Ball Science Temple, Nation of Islam tried to do that. Marcus Garvey. We done heard this getting back to Africa stuff before. I done been there. I study cults. So I understand and I see cult behavior. Not saying nobody's Israel. I don't want people to get mad on that, but separate the things and know when you see cult movement. I'm seeing cult movement and people, I just want to believe. You don't want to believe Massa. You don't want to believe the white man, but you want to believe Pasa. You want to believe the Moray. And there's no evidence of it. And then when the Moray brings things out, like we're going to bring up those evangelicals that prophesied God told them that Trump was going to be the president. We're going to bring them white folk up and how people like Mike Holloway's offended when people get outside the book and start talking about God spoke, God spoke. You're a liar. God ain't spoke to them folk, but this is for the dumb, deaf, and blind. God's calling us out of religion into relationship. That's how I tell them, fringes are all right, but drop that. I don't need that. Don't act like Adam and Eve wore that, and that's going to be in the kingdom. Sister Cherry, come to the microphone. What do you do what you do?
All right. Peace and blessings to you, Brother Berean, and thank you for extending the invitation for me to come on. I hope you can hear me clearly because I'm on my cell phone. I just got off of work.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to mute Abu. Go ahead. I'm mute Abu.
God bless you, Brother Abu. Bless you, dear brother. And I was hearing you speak so thoroughly. I don't know if there's anything I can truly add to what he said because he really laid the foundation of pretty much of how the story went. Let me greet everybody that is in the chat. Peace and blessings to you. Whether you like me or dislike me, still, regardless, peace and blessings to you anyhow. Berean, this has been a tedious road, as you can see, and a heck of a fight. Of a fight that didn't have to go the route that it did. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm glad Brother Abu and is here, and as well if Faithful is listening, or if he ever hears this, I'm not ashamed to tell them thank you so much for the work that you guys have done. Berean, I was just as shocked as you. And just like everybody else, it was like what they dropped that a few Sundays ago last year. It put everybody at a standstill. But the truth came out, and none of us were, I guess you could say, were prepared. But we're always looking for truth. let me say this. God took this particular subject, whether you agree with me or not, he took this off the table for a reason, because it can get very, very messy. And I think all three of us can agree, and even some of the people that you may have in the back probably can agree, even some people in the chat. God clearly said in Titus 3:9, whether you're sick of hearing it or not, it's the truth. It's in the Bible. It's Bible. To not give way to endless genealogy. Talk about genealogy. He does it again in 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 4. And this is the very reason why. Because if God can love the Jews, he's also able, he has enough love to love the Gentiles, to love everybody around the world, regardless of your color, creed, big, small, fat, small, whatever. And unfortunately, because we have certain people who, for some reason, are insecure, and that's a big word, insecure about their position in God. And it's sad. It really is very sad, Brother Bahrain, that a lot of folk feel that they got to have some type of entitlement or whatever the case may be in God. God loves us all. And I don't understand why that can't be shared amongst both sides. But when you lie, the way that I'm going to call it out, they lie. And I told you the last time I was on your platform, Brother Bahrain, I said, you know what? When that information was dropped, I have lost my will to even argue about this issue. Now, I will discuss doctrine all day long. But the fact of it is, if you're going to bring external evidence, be truthful with that external evidence. And Brother Bahrain, they were not. When I watched the same information that you watched, that all of us watched, there's no way in the world that a professor would type emails like that. I mean, a seventh grader can type better than that.
Hold on, you can hear me, Terry?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, do me a favor, read the screen. You done lied before. I done lied before.
If it's not true, what is this energy coming from as if you never been lied to before? Wait a minute. First and second of all,
what's the difference? Yeah.
It's a very big difference. Okay? When a person has lied to you in the past, you done got angry about it, right? When a person lies to you here in the present, you'll get angry about it, right? How can you say that you are the people of God and you not exercising what God told you to do and what not to do? Don't come bringing that to us, trying to sit up here and find loopholes around what is said in the biblical text. God told you not to do this. And this is why a lot of y'all are in the position you're in right now. Yes, Brother Bahrain.
But this is my thing. If cats didn't exist, why can't we just move on from this and everything be all right? Why all the anger?
Put the shoe on the other foot. What if we had done that?
May I comment real quick?
If Cherry that trick us, well, she get the flow. Can't nobody come after. Let me mute her. Let me put her down here.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Set up.
Yeah, go ahead. You got the floor.
Making statements that are false.
Your microphone. What are you doing?
Excuse me. You talking to me?
Yeah, your microphone. I don't know what you go ahead. Now keep
can you hear me better now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Sir.
So what I was gonna say is, look, if it's just about an untrue statement, look, I'm not upset about what happened, but if it's just about an untrue statement, people make untrue statements on the internet all the time. It's not controversial in that regard. What the issue is this was attempted to be used to end the debate. It was one of two different misrepresentations or falsehoods that were used to try to wrench apologies from us, to say that we need to apologize for merely for asking for evidence. And then honestly, the lie was continued where it really got ugly is they continued this lie to try to make us look bad by saying, by getting this fictional character to say that we wrote to his university.
It's like you're covering your microphone or your shirt or something.
I'm sorry about that. What about now? Is it better now?
Yes. Keep it like that.
The thing with saying that, having the Katz character declare that people wrote to his quote unquote university administration, to threaten his job and, link him to a hate group and all this. That's when it's starting to get ugly. Like, I didn't want to go down this road, and I'm not particularly upset about it.
But they wanted to call people jobs and link people to a hate group. They wanted to do that.
Yeah. Isn't that ironic? There's a lot of projection out there, the accusations of moving goalposts, a lot of projection, the accusations of insulting people. That was one of the things that I found ironic is from the start was that, with all due respect to Pastor Kelly, from very early on, he would declare that I was too disrespectful while he was the one who was being disrespectful. The irony is several layers deep, but no, I mean, it's, but no, the point is that, no, I'm not particularly upset about it, but it did need to be addressed. That's the thing. It did need to be addressed. And if they want to say, hey, let's drop it, that's fine. But then let's reset the clock at where it was before I drop that information. There's a whole bunch of other stuff they didn't address. Like, for example, Kelly Richardson, after 14 months, finally attempted to present a string of characters for one of the pews. And it happened to be the same pew that I made my case for Arabic for. And he declared that he had embarrassed me and that I had no answer to it. So there's a cockiness that coming with these lies. So what I did for that, separate from Katz, if we put Katz aside and we put Bunis aside, what I did was I presented a fairly thorough response to Kelly's attempt to suggest a string of characters. If they want to put the scholars off the table, fine. Well, let's set the clock back to that. And how about addressing that? My case for Arabic on the pew in response to his, addressing his case for Solitreo on the pew. That's what I've always wanted to do. Let's get into the markings. And I think on their side, they just want to use these scholars, whether they're real or fake, as sort of an excuse to shut the discussion down. I'm trying to have a discussion on the markings. They're trying to, eliminate discussion. That's really what's been going on for 14 months. And, but again, the thing had to be addressed because they tried to make it, the ending of an argument.
All right, look at this comment right here. Let me show you this right here, Sister Cherry. It's ignorant comments like this. Brother Berean, how many souls have you guys led to the Most High this week? It's a good chance. I used to pastor back in 2000. Before that, I was doing street ministry. I was in the penitentiary doing that. I came home hitting preacher dudes in jail and all that. It's a good chance it's a good chance I could touch thousands I done led to the Lord. I've been doing that. Sometimes God promotes you or move you to different things. Do you lead a soul every week? How many people in here lead 5 people to the Lord every year? It's nonsense like this. This is that Bible thumping nonsense. I don't go for that nonsense. Some people plant. That's what I'm saying. These people don't understand. Some people plant. Some people plant, and listen, ultimately God is going to give the increase. Others water. There's different levels to this thing. This is a different level of it right now, but we have to check lies. We have to check doctrine. It's biblical to check doctrine. Try not every spirit. Believe not every spirit. We see what's happening in Galatians, so the whole black church is nervous because of Kelly and them. Because of Majors in them, because of Mr. Dante, they're nervous because could this be that Judaizing thing? So we have to discuss it. This is the only reason we're doing this. Nobody is going to tell us to shut it down because the church is in trouble, because people are crept in among us. This isn't an old thing that's happening. This been going on. So God's raised some people up to just let's be on the guard. We watching this. We like the ushers. We the back door watching. What's this doctrine? And it can only come through dialogue. Big deal. Everybody come and say they save. We got saved witches, saved warlocks, saved new ages and mystics. We got saved everybody. So the name don't mean nothing. 90% of the people say, let's get to the doctrine so we can know them. So we can know them through their doctrine.
And also, I would say also a lot of debates, and especially when they're a grand spectrum of different propositions, or dealing with certain groups, a lot of times there's going to be moments where certain people are focusing on minutia. So, for example, with the Mormons, there are critics of the Mormons who have, will spend very large amounts of time, sometimes years, examining or arguing about or going over every detail of a specific document from Joseph Smith. And I think, for those who want to debate the veracity of Mormonism, it seems unfortunate to then say, oh, well, why are you on this document? Let's talk about this other thing. What about this? What about that? Everyone has their niche, and it just so happens that I was interested in Semitic languages. People were making these claims, and so I was willing to look into this. And this particular discussion has, over the course of 14 months, just continuously got worse and worse. It when it could have just been a discussion about the markings,
Yeah, Sister Cherry, look at this. Answer this one right here. Nobody talking about a heaven and hell. It's interesting because I still never said nobody was saved. You got lying pastors. Nobody said they weren't saved. Now, y'all be careful with that, because that was the thing with Israel. When people started saying them guys ain't saved, I'm like, no, wait a minute now. Even like I said, May said, yo, who's saying they not saved? I said, believe on the Lord. If they believe on the Lord, they saved. We talking about liars. We got saved liars. We got Israelite fornicators. We got pastors and bishops and teachers that's out here running amok, making babies in each. So nobody's saying they're not saved. David was saved, and David murdered and fornicated. Come on, Sister Cherry, you got the mic.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me good? You got your Bible.
Oh, no, don't start that reading jackass out
You
the Bible.
got your Bible.
I'm going to put her out of here right now.
No, don't put me out. Please don't put me out.
Read for her. I'm reading these comments.
That's okay. I'll read it. I'll read it.
Oh,
and I'm coming from what they love so much, the Old Testament, Proverbs chapter 6. And it says here in verse 16, 6 things that doth the Lord hate. Ye 7 are an abomination unto him, unto the Lord: a proud look, and a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies,
I hate John.
he that soweth discord among the brethren. Listen, bro, I know a lot of people didn't like when Sister Cherry said that they were unsaved. But if you moving in this kind of way, there's no way that you can literally say that you speaking lies and you saved. And you.
But this ain't regular. That's the thing, Cherry. This ain't regular deceit right here. When it comes from pastors and police officers and judges, we hold them to a higher standard. Because I'm telling you right now, they produce cats. Ain't nothing but a lie. We're going to just move on.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I don't care if you're a pastor, a police officer, a doctor, or a lawyer, or a judge, and you out here lying, I say the same thing to them. You're wrong. And the fact of it is, you won't even repent when you found in the wrong. A real believer is able to admit when they are wrong. And unfortunately, we have not seen that come from the other side, who have critically done this. This is their mess up. Now, let's keep it real.
Do you put everybody together?
Do I what now?
Do you bunch them that side? Do you put them all together? Because I got Israelites that hit me and be like, yo, he wrong. My other man hit me. He was like, yo, I told such and such, just repent. Let's move on. I got emails from my 4-5 Israelites that I respect, that's lead, that's teachers, that's out here doing stuff. And they ain't gonna probably get out and say it, but they were like, man, listen, that's on him right there. That's on them right there. So I don't know if it was Pastor Brown by himself and Kelly came around and rolled the thing. But Kelly, like, he took the forefront and Brown was in the background, and Kelly trying to finesse it with an IP class. All that's irrelevant to me. I'm not a believer. That's all irrelevant to me. They ain't addressed the main things. Go ahead.
Brother Barine, I'm like this. If the shoe fits, wear it. If the shoe fits, wear it. If you did it, own it. Simple as that. The evidence that was laid out a few weeks ago is obvious. Even blind Bartimaeus can see it. Okay? And he was blind until Jesus opened up his eyes. So again,
look at Eric. Look at Eric. That's a good question.
Repent to who? No, you don't repent to me. I never declared myself to be your God. But see, what y'all failing to understand, that God has given us instructions and left us instructions where we can identify those who are real and who are fake. And if you live in a lifestyle that is fake and not according to the biblical text as a believer should, now I'm not saying that you can't have flaws. That's not what I'm saying. But when it's deliberately done, and this was deliberately done, and then you turn around and you want to keep on trying to justify the lie that you put out. I'm not talking about the person that quoted, but I'm talking about the people who put this lie out here and won't even repent on it. Something is wrong with that.
Where your
And like
girl
I
at with
said,
them? Where your girl at with them slides? Where your girl at with them GD match slides? And that's why I'm telling people it's a blanket. What Abu and them did is a blanket. He might not have meant to do it, but everything is going to be questioned coming out of Kelly in the mouth now. And I'm going to even go further than that. Him and Pastor Majors and Boom Church, it's going to go further than that. And they're going to watch what everybody is saying, what everybody is posting. Now people are saying, if you don't believe that, if that's a lie, how we don't know the GED match and the other evidence that they're saying it's not a lie also. That's talking about. I said everybody's going to go back. They're going to go to Cambridge. They're going to read the source. They're going to see if it's in context. Context is important because I'm hearing more and more people.
Yes, it is. Context is king at this point when you're dealing with the biblical text. But here's my thing. Regarding the pews and regarding the GED match, listen, when Sister Salam came to me and she pointed this out, I said, okay, you know what? If you want to voice this to the people and point it out, you can. And I gave her the opportunity to go ahead and voice that out. And we also took the initiative. Like I already told everybody on my platform, I'm not a DNA expert. And I'm going to say it on this platform. I'm not a DNA expert. The same thing that I said on Brother Garfield's platform. I'm not a DNA expert. But however, when the evidence is being presented here that something here is wrong, she's not wrong for pointing that out whatsoever. And we're not wrong for asking questions. We're not wrong for looking into it. These certain people want us to take their word at face value. No, while you tell the Christian apologists, come with that document, come with that proof, come with this, come with that, come with this. Okay, and we have. And if we did not have it, we were honest to say we ain't got that, but we'll research it. But unfortunately, the other side has not even given us the same respect back. You just up and just lie about it? How fair is that, Brother Bareem?
No,
and I'm asking your audience members, how fair is that? Why? Because you want to declare yourself something? You just all of a sudden just say, well, fairness is kicked out the window. We're going to do this. And regardless of whether they lie, we still going to do this. No, that's not right.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, Abu. Look at what Ja Tony say.
I'm sorry, was to say, not sure it's a lie. Cats can't be verified. I mean, look, this is what I'll say. I'm very confident that cats doesn't exist. I think with someone honestly,
the crazy thing is the man from the other guy from the Assemblies of God Church was a marshal. He said, "I'm not going to even take your money. That money helped me get a car. I spent the $300 because I said I was going to put that other money." He said, "I won't even take your money." He just did a little something. He's a marshal. He's a marshal. I ain't playing with these devils.
So
these folks run down people all over the country. This is what he did for 22 years. I ain't playing with you devils. And he said, "I ain't gonna take your money." 5 minutes. He said, "That man don't exist." I said, "Oh man, I'm feeling some type of way because I've been saying these dudes' names in the video. These are reputable sources. Y'all want to come and hear anything? These people represent this, that, and that. To go this far for a lie, I feel some type of way. Go ahead.
And they wanted you to apologize.
And wanted me to apologize.
Yeah,
I don't even feel like apologizing to Mason. I got to. You think I'm apologizing to these devils? I said, "No, I'm gonna wait." But I went and I went to the group and said it's an IP thing. I mean, they almost got tears in my eyes. And he's talking about IP addresses. Well, Abu could have did this, but I'm thinking in my mind, how is it the same phone? How is it? But first of all, what professor got that cheap sample? I don't know. I'm just questioning stuff. But then I sat about an hour in there. They talking in the comment section. Berea need to repent. Berea needed to. I hope he watching this, and I'm watching everything. But I'm like, there's nothing even being said.
Mm-hmm.
This is clown behavior.
Can I say this? If it was such a lie, right, and no evidence was truly presented by Brother Abu and Brother Faithful, then why the whole massive movement they edge or push for people to strike our videos, to flag our videos?
Yeah.
Don't dispute, refute. If you got the truth is strong enough to stand on its own. Ask that question. I'm asking your audience members that question. Why push for a movement of flagging our videos? And just this subject, Brother Breen, just this subject, Abu's videos dealing with these pews and what led up to what came out, all flagged. Faithful, flagged. Me, flagged. Vocab, flagged. And anybody who talked about it and brought out the information and shared it, why did y'all move to have our videos taken down?
Well,
if y'all got the truth.
Pastor Kelly called me, and Pastor Kelly said that because he's a high-ranking, he works whatever with the government, that
But
y'all
he
said
should have
his
thought
real
about
name.
that. No. He should have thought about that. He knew his no, Barine. He knew his life situation. We don't. He knew what he was walking into. We don't. Right? Now, all of a sudden, that it didn't go your way. Now, all of a sudden, well, I'm a high-ranking official. No, you should have thought about that before you try to sit up here and co-sign this lie, or before you try to ride with this lie. No, I'm not buying that. I'm not, and even Garfield, we're not buying that. No, you don't take scholarship.
No, you
Go
can't.
ahead, Brother Blue.
She let you go. Shots fired. I'm not. Let me put in the background for a minute.
What I
She
say
need to go to
is,
the green room
if
for a
I
little
may,
chill.
I don't think I said anything egregious about Pastor Kelly Richardson. You know, like
He said because he's a government official, his name, and y'all say his name, and vocab have a whole playlist. His name is automatically coming up, so they got to flag y'all. The government got to follow
the
y'all.
government has to flag us.
That's what he got to get. I pull it up on the text right now.
Come on.
So I said, I said, I'll talk to them. I said, I'll talk to them and I'll see what's what. But as I'm talking and I'm praying and I'm hitting the pastor, my man and them down there that's involved in legal stuff and all of that, he's like, man, that ain't nothing about this. Is him. This is him. He want all of that stuff down. Ain't no government thinking about that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I would understand if he said, you know, we were saying something really crazy about him specifically and he was uncomfortable. But if he's saying the government is upset that we're mentioning one of their agents, I mean, come on. That's really,
he's trying to clean up
strange credulity. I can't, that sounds like another, that's right up there with
he's trying to backtrack on all the lies and think I'm so dumb you can manipulate me to talk vocab in them, and you were taking down videos and taking his name off and disconnecting him from these pews and these lies. You connected to these lies, dude. You connected to it, and you're gonna stay connected to it. And nobody's saying they ain't saved. Nobody ain't saying they ain't pastors. We got all type of stuff going on, but you connected to this work you don't put out here. You should have thought. I'm with Cherry. You should have thought about all this. And now I'm feeling some type of way. Yacoba over there, he want to ride. You want to ride with him? Ride with him. Y'all making me think y'all know these dudes. I can't even bring up these other people names. They're like, man. I'm like, yo, what you think in Jesus' name? They like, man, don't even get me into that mess. Many people over there, but they don't want to publicly say it, and I ain't gonna call them out. Go ahead.
What I'll say is that
go ahead, bro.
Not yet. She's going to. And don't worry. No, what I was going to say is I wouldn't even say he should have thought about it.
Character assassination. It's character assassination. Get the feds. He worked for the feds. Get the feds. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is but I don't think, like, there's no reason to flag my videos, as I don't think I've said anything terrible about him, you know? I'm merely addressing claims that he made. But the thing is, I wouldn't say, oh, he should have thought about this, because, I mean, honestly, the claim that the government is flagging our videos
your name got to automatically go on a government list because y'all mentioned him and he knows secrets secrets in the government. Boy, y'all don't know. I ain't thinking about them. I ain't thinking about them people. Like, y'all got that energy for them people. I ain't thinking about the feds. I ain't been thinking about them. My show ain't finna start thinking about them for you.
Can we be honest? That's one more layer of fiction. That's right up there with, with cats, frankly.
Man. Oh, I hate Abu. But I ain't gonna lie, but my man said the same thing. He said, I know you don't believe that nonsense. That ain't got nothing to do with no feds. That got to do with him. That got to do with him. Don't want to be connected to a thing.
We have a secret scholar, and now because we question the secret scholar, we're on a secret government watch list. You know, the secrets are really piling up here.
This is the same thing David Koresh and all of them was using. Jim Jones and all of them was using. This is normal cult behavior. This is what's scaring me, and these people eating it up. I don't know.
There's a lot of secrets there, you know. It's a scholar, secret government watch list.
When you're dealing with the Bible, right? You got to deal with the Bible honestly, okay? And we don't mind different perspectives. Yeah, we're going to have a back and forth because of doctrine or whatever the case may have you. We're prepared for that. But when you start laying on archaeology, documentation, DNA, whatever you want, the list is long. You're going way too far, and you pulling in scholarship like that. That you're going way too far.
And when you're dealing with cults never want you to question them. They want to do all the bolts, but they don't want you to question them.
Exactly. And that's what we've been screaming out for years. Now, I'm with Brother Abu. Abu made a very beautiful point. He literally said, listen, and I heard him a couple of now and back then. He even said, listen, I'm not here to fight the fact of whether you Israel or not. I'm not dealing with that. I want to deal with the pews. I want to deal what you presented. Let's have a dialogue. And I'm going to say this. My brother, if anybody who has had any type of character assassination, and I'll minus myself out because my character has been assassinated by these people, but I'm going to minus myself out. It has been, they have tried to assassinate Abu's character. They have tried to assassinate Vocab's character as well as Faithful to God. And guess what now, Brother Barim? Welcome to the list of being character assassination. I seen what was done, and I didn't like it whatsoever.
Look at this. Look at this. Somebody trying to find him. Somebody trying to find him.
Sure, I'll comment on that.
Everybody, because everybody has. Kerry, have you called anybody? I want you to tell the truth because they say you're alive too. Have you called anybody? Have you terrorized some people? The GED Max people, Sister Cherry, tell us the truth right now.
No, we have not. No, we have not.
What about the other man, Brunus? Did you call Brunus? You and your people over there?
I wrote to him. I had very cordial correspondence with him, and we were still corresponding long after.
Y'all hear that? Cherry didn't. Why everybody keep talking about the man that lives in Georgia?
If I may, I'd like to address that.
I want you to.
So first off, I'm glad to see Renzo here. I'm a big fan of Renzo. I respect him tremendously. There's no connection between the Richard Katz in Georgia and the alleged scholar that Brown was having correspondences with. So the one that Brown invoked is supposed to be a scholar of Hebrew who works at a university in Tel Aviv. The Richard Katz in Georgia is a man who he does have a PhD, but his dissertation was on Gothic, which is a Germanic language, and his BA and MA, his two other degrees, were both in English. He does not list Hebrew as a language that he has any proficiency in. So he doesn't teach Hebrew. He doesn't have any degrees in Hebrew, and he's in a different continent. So it's a completely different person. Well, I mean,
I was told that he mentioned that he used the guy's name was used without his authorization, so it was kind of confusion. Like they was really meaning that guy because he looked up any name and he made up that guy.
There's no connection whatsoever. It would be.
It's still lies anyway. You cut the cake. It's lies.
Well, yeah. I mean, if Brown actually came out and said that's the guy, which he's not going to do because obviously then that guy would say, no, I never wrote those emails. But on top of that, we could just say, well, you invoked a guy that doesn't have any background in Hebrew, who doesn't even claim any proficiency in Hebrew. It's just sort of.
Get out of here, John. Johnson, maybe he got dual citizenship. Jacoba said maybe when he wrote the email, he was back from Tel Aviv home for the Christmas or something.
Yeah, he just happened to be visiting the United States. Yeah.
Hey, no, I'm good, y'all. I'm not even talking about it no more because y'all want to believe. Y'all can believe what y'all want to believe. These folk ain't finna give me none of that Kool-Aid. I don't want it. I don't want it. And once again, I'm not saying that people are not saved, but listen, you just made. I feel some type of way about the whole movement. But I feel some type of way about a lot of folk right now because of that. People that know and people that don't want to say they're just as bad as the folk that's being. I don't know where they came into the conspiracy at. Come on, y'all.
But not only that. I mean, again, it's not like we're just picking on them for making an untrue statement. It's not like Brown said he went to Disney World last year, and I don't think he did, and so I'm going to fight with him. The issue is this particular claim was weaponized against the dialogue. That's really the issue. You know, they claim, you know, this lie was used as an attempt to shut down the discussion. Then they compounded it by claiming that the scholar confirmed all their fears that, you know, were harassing professors, and you know, it was weaponized, and that's why it warrants a response.
And with all the videos out here now, who knows what else y'all done like? Because y'all lied about this. What y'all going through right now, what y'all getting ready to go through, it ain't worth hiding that man, if the man really exists, because I'd have brought him out by now. I'd have brought him out by now, but I know he don't exist. and that other guy told me he don't exist. If the marshals said they can't find you, it's a good chance they can't find you. Now, we do have people in the history of the marshals. There are a few people that escaped for years, but if the marshals like, listen, this man ain't, listen, what you giving us or what you saying, they say that them thing ain't connected.
I'm like this, Vareen. Okay, and we have been accused of so-called, quote-unquote, harassing this man. Well, what information? I don't have it. I don't have no email. I don't have no number. I didn't even find out about this guy until I'm sitting in the audience with you, Brother Bareen, when it all dropped. Listen, I got witnesses to tell you. I'm like, who is Richard Katz? Who is that? I know about David M. Boonis. The last time I heard on Abu's channel. That's the recollection. You can go back and check my channel. That was the last person that we spoke about, and he was misrepresented. And I'm sitting up here apologizing to the man for being misrepresented, and I'm not even the one that did it. So, and I'm telling them, listen, this man.
I ain't gonna lie. I said it got to be carrying them. It got to be carrying them. If somebody calling up there, look at the screen. Look at the screen, Cherry.
Okay, how can they harass him if no one can find him?
That was one of the great contradictions. That was one of the great contradictions of this, that they
said drop.
They can't give us, they can't tell us what university he's at, because then we're going to contact the university to try to threaten his job. Yet they also claimed that he already gave us that information and that we've already written to his university to threaten his job. It was a huge contradiction, but the real reason, I mean, it was just a story they made up. The real reason they can't give out the information, aside from the fact that he doesn't exist, is because once they say a specific university, then it'll be too easy to check the faculty. You know,
and he seemed to know it in the video anyway. He said, y'all gonna have to do y'all due diligence.
Yeah, exactly.
I played that over and over in my head. I'm like, this dude got the whole thing lined up.
Yeah, it was almost like he was taunting us, almost to say, like, let's see if you can find him. I remember when I first heard that, I was like, that's strange.
Somebody said what he said. Berea, keep that same energy when they done beating that dead horse. Listen, when I don't know how y'all feel about the pews, about dialogue in general, because people, is this what we get Abu for attempting to just be neighborhood online dealing with scholarly stuff? Because scholarly stuff, you can't come and say, checkmate, it's done. Exactly. I did what y'all want with the loud bass for y'all ain't did nothing to me. Y'all ain't did nothing.
Not only that, this is what I'll say. I fully appreciate if other people are not interested in this subject. I fully appreciate that. If you're not interested in the subject, I respect that. You know, everyone has their own interests. But the thing was, just a few weeks ago, they were literally taunting both of us.
I didn't know, but I don't even listen to the video, so I didn't know they got some broad enough stuff up on there talking about, Berean radio silent now, and talking all that malarkey.
You notice he don't got nothing to say now. Now that the truth is out, he's quiet. And they were saying
the
same
truth
thing
is
about
all made up.
I guess he's running from those pews now. Now that the truth is out, they're running. So the thing is, let's be fair. If you're not interested in the subject, that's fine. But in our case, they literally taunted us, you know, dared us to try to address the subject as if we couldn't. And then when we did, then when it became too much for them, then they declared, oh, this subject is finished. You still on this? Come on. It's highly inappropriate to challenge people to address the subject, and then when they address it, to just, you know, wave with a wave of the hand, say, oh, it wasn't, you know, I don't even know why we're still on this subject. You know, that's an example of moving the goalposts, if anything. You know,
you want to hear somebody say Anonymous Hebrew had something on the pews. Is there anything that you haven't heard on the pews? You want to hear someone?
Of course. I think there was a gentleman who emailed me and said Anonymous Hebrew took a number of pictures. So I just want to put this out there. Anyone who has more pictures or would like to I'm still interested. Anyone who has pictures of pews.
Anonymous Hebrew got that right now?
If not, then they can contact me. I would love to examine anything people have. Anyone who wants to send me a picture, share with me a picture, and and I'll take the time to look it over and think about it. But of course, not just the picture, but also if they want to transcribe something, like if they want to say this particular pew has Hebrew or Arabic or whatever, and here's what I think appears there, I'm more than happy to take a look and discuss it.
What's this? Hold on a minute. Somebody said, what is he saying? What is he saying right here? Yes, he does what? Let me see. I got his hold on. Just hold on 1 second. Let me see if I got his email in here, because I think he was on before. If I hit him, all right, Anonymous Hebrew. No, I don't see his name. What is it? What is his Gmail? I don't see his thing up here. Alton Garfield Bradford. I don't see him up here. I don't know. His email must ain't got that on there.
What I'll say to Yehochanan, if I'm not mistaken, Yehochanan has written to me on Facebook, and I really appreciated when he wrote, and I would invite him to, if not today, then when time permits, please share with me the images and transcriptions that Anonymous Hebrew has, and that anyone else has. I'm very interested in seeing anyone's arguments for language on a pew. So,
all right. So somebody said you should go visit the pews if you're interested. So let me ask you. So you'll continue to deal with some things with the pews.
Yeah, perhaps it's a subject that interests me. I'm happy to discuss it if new people have new arguments.
All right, and listen, I appreciate you and Faithful and them for putting in that work and just sharing that information. That kind of threw the whole game in the uproar. But I ain't mad, because truth is truth. I love truth. I gotta say shout out to y'all for that. Sister Cherry, are you gonna cut your mess out? Yes or no?
Say that question again.
Are you gonna cut it out, or are you gonna keep doing what you're doing?
I'm going to continue to do what I do,
which
is to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and to keep on refuting this crazy doctrine. But I will say this. Not only was it unfair to the opposing side, which is, I guess, urban apologists, if you want to call us Christian apologists, but little do the audience know. I think some of them know, but a lot of them who don't know and don't realize and haven't looked deeper into this, you were cheated as well. And you need to go back over the evidence that was presented by Brother Abu. I would, even look at Kelly Richardson's evidence, what they got again, and do a compare and contrast. And like I told you, Brother Bahrain, regarding the pew, I believe that between Brother Abu and Faithful, and even what Garfield presented, this is my soul is at rest. So I'm just done with that part.
Yeah. I don't want to. I know the dudes got churches and families and all of that stuff like that. But it is, it is what it is. It's just time to move on. They ain't got to worry about me saying they name every 5 minutes, dropping videos and all that for the secret government, for the Gestapo and all them other people, them invisible people, Mr. Katz and them, with them unseen realm people. I ain't got to worry about harassing them, but they play themselves. In my opinion, if anything come out, I'm here to repent, say sorry, and just move on. But to me, this is a big blow. They're gonna act like this ain't a big blow. Leaders in community have said a family been in this for generations. If they have been established to lie, not be constant lies, but to lie on this one right here. That's a big thing. I'm a little troubled. All right, y'all. Anything in closing y'all like to share?
No, I got to run. Thank you very much.
All right.
I'm looking forward to discussing Lashwan Kodash.
Yes. Oh, yes. Matter of fact, you let me know. We'll set something up to do that. All right.
All right. And God bless everybody.
All right. Bye.
And I'm still up for doctrine, Brother Bahrain. So let's get to that, bro.
Okay, sis.